Hide your grandmas, hide your aunties. There's a new hero in town, and it's the Mummerman. Let's go!
100th episode, baby.
That's right.
Congratulations. I'm glad we could all make it here today.
In a row.
That sounds like a lot.
Episode 100 of Bad Movies Rule.
100, baby.
Good, you guys. I can't believe it.
I can't believe I'm here.
Like, that's not an exaggeration. I literally can't believe we made it through 100 episodes of this stupid show.
Here we are.
And here we are. So
there's quality content.
there is currently 7 people in the room, an 8th waiting in the wings, a 9th coming later. We've got almost the entire crew in here, but let's get through this quick. We got Mr. Joe Gorotowski, the alpha male, in the house. Joe, what's up, buddy? And of course, we can't do the Mummerman without the Mummerman.
Hey.
So we got Kurt Mummer off of his suspension.
Finally.
Out of pun jail. And
Give him a
here
round of applause.
in the studio. Let's do
Welcome
it.
back, Kurt Mummer.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm glad to be back.
You just keep your puns to a minimum, though.
That's fine.
Joining us also back again first time since Captain America, we got Nicole Freer in the house. What's up,
Yes.
Nicole?
Hey,
Yay.
I'm here.
Over at, well, it's not the kids' table today so much as it's the overflow table for today. But right now, we got Mr. Clint Bush fully masked and everything ready to go. And over there at the overflow table, also, we got Mr. Mel Vandy in the house.
Yes, and I'd like to point out that we have 90% of our fan base here in the room.
Hey.
Ooh, all right.
So far.
So far. And first time since Tremors, Stephanie Farrell is here.
Welcome back.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yay. The line that's haunted me forever. We could freeze more water.
That's right.
Yes.
All right, so we're going to jump in. We're talking about The Mummerman, and most of you, I'm assuming, have never heard of this movie, so we do have to do a little more work on the front end to explain exactly what this is. We were thinking for a long time, okay, we've got the 100th episode coming up. What can we do? Should we do a big movie like Over the Top?
No.
Or Demolition Man?
No.
Or, one of these ones that we've been saving to do for a big, like, 200, 150, something like that, right?
Yeah.
And
A
we
definite
decided,
marker.
you know what we've done? We've spent 99 episodes making fun of other people's movies.
Yep.
And so it would only be fair if we did it to ourselves.
Yes, absolutely.
And so when we started this, we told you guys we were filmmakers, but we haven't really talked a lot about that. And so to give you guys a little bit of background on how this happened, long story short, there was a period of time from about 2004 to 2009
Yep.
where we were very active as a group doing all kinds of fun things.
Sketch comedy improv.
Right.
We did a lot of that.
Yeah.
He recruited me years ago, and he's like, hey, you should come out and try out. And we started the Jack Benny Center. Then we went down the Double Door.
We started in Waukegan, and then we were down in Chicago, Illinois.
Chicago, the Trapdoor Theater. We did some improv.
And so the main group was basically me and you and a guy named Aaron Pallison.
Yep.
And then there was Sam, and there was Vita. And then we added this other person to the group.
Nicole.
Who was Nicole Freer.
That's me.
Not at the time was Nicole Rogers.
True.
Yeah.
True.
So we did this stage show for a while, and then I remember one day we were sitting around going, what if we took a bunch of our sketches that we do on stage and kind of tangentially string them together with no plot whatsoever and just make a movie out of it,
And
right?
it worked awesome. Let's just say.
No.
Yeah.
But that movie will never see the light of day.
Yeah, that was.
There's a lot to
that was
learn
rough.
in the process, right?
But we had a good friend, high school friend, Benny Waddell.
Yes.
And he was going to Columbia Film School. So we were doing little skits with him, for his work. And so it came together at the right time. We wanted to work, go a little bit farther and do something on
There was
video.
synergy, is what
Exactly.
there was.
And he was there. So, and it all came together, and we started making these little independent films.
Yeah, and so we made this first movie. It was called The Next Level, and it was, again, like I said, just basically a string of our sketches. And it was based off of a sketch that we did that made no sense. You're already laughing, Nicole.
Nicole's part in that.
What is it that you're thinking about specifically?
All the things. Just all the things.
Anyway, we're not going to belabor the next level. That's the story for never. But
Gotta start somewhere.
we ultimately made 3 feature-length films.
Yeah.
It was the next level. Then we made a movie called Clubless, which was a disc golf movie, kind of a takeoff of a sports tropey movie.
Sure.
The Legend
wasn't
of
just-
Victor Montango.
I was gonna say it's Clubless, the Legend of Victor Montango.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then we finally, in 2008, we made our final film. In that, well, it's as of now, 15 years later, the last time we made a feature-length film.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's our final one,
Coming
but
in
it's
2050.
it's the most recent one.
Yes.
With a 15-year break, and that was The Mummerman, which was a movie about. Which is what we're going to cover today, which is a movie about a homemade superhero. Not really a hard concept
No.
that decides they want to fight crime. We set it in our hometown of Antioch, Illinois.
Yes.
Which not all of us, but the core group kind of grew up in.
Yep.
Mel and me and Clint and you guys.
Yes.
And it's funny because it was a crimeless town. in
Yes,
that-
pretty
like,
much.
I mean, every town has a little bit of crime, but there's like nothing really ever happened
No,
in Antioch.
yeah.
So that was kind of the joke.
Since we were kids, there was
Right.
never really anything.
Aside
going
from our filming day.
on. yes.
which we're going to get
Yes.
to. Yes.
Well, we're gonna get into those ones.
But yeah, so that's how we're here. We made this movie. We put it out. We sold some copies. It was just never meant to be a big thing other than like a local thing. And people seem to enjoy it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
13 years for us to get it onto YouTube.
Yes.
It's only just recently been available to watch in the last couple of years.
Well, I think we did it during the pandemic.
Yeah,
right?
because that's what we thought. We're like, well, it's COVID. Let's put it out. We'll do a live thing, which we did.
We did like the 10-year anniversary.
That's
think,
right.
Correct.
Long story short, so we can get to the actual movie. How we ended up here doing this podcast is this is basically the same group of people that made those movies.
Yeah.
And so almost 2 years ago, we had a group chat for years where we were just like saying, making stupid jokes and doing these.
Absolutely.
Chatting
Yes.
with everybody. And then at one point we just all had a conversation like, hey, what is something that we can do that we can kind of get the group back together that's not as insane of a time commitment as making a movie, which is probably why we haven't done one in 15 years, because we all started having kids and families and we're like, how many hours in a day? How many times in a row?
25.
What's the commitments? Yeah.
Right. And so here we are. We decided to start this as a way to get the group back together to do something fun, to talk about something we know and love. And so long story short, that's how Bad Movies Rule. Like, I don't think there's Bad Movies Rule without the Mummerman, and there's not the Mummerman without that kind of original sketch comedy show
Enough
that we did,
Stupid.
which was called Enough Stupid Starts a Fire.
Yep.
Sure was.
That was the first original.
All right. Well, now that we've laid the groundwork here, why don't we start talking about the vitals of the movie here? As we do, we're going to try and treat this as much as we can like a normal episode of Bad
All right.
Movies Rule.
You ready?
Therefore, I did not bring a book. I did not, just so everyone's
Yes.
aware, I did not write any puns.
All right. Perfect.
Wow.
There is no book here.
See, this is working out. For
You
the
learned your
better
lesson.
already.
Except for Clint over there. He got hosed.
All right. So,
Nicole.
Push the button.
Oh, sorry. Right. Penny.
all right.
Sad trombone here.
Penny.
So
That's the kind.
Penny host. I got it.
the movie was directed by James Hauser.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I know him.
It's weird to say.
What else has that guy done?
Not much.
No.
Clubless.
Clubless
Legend of
and-
Victor
and that's
Montango.
it. Yeah.
Yep. And some sketch comedy shows and
Yeah, the movie was written by James, and Kurt helped me with this kind of. We laid out how that worked. Is we kind of laid out the story together.
Yeah, so what had happened was when we were talking about sketch comedy shows, I wrote a bunch of Mummerman bits.
Right.
And we were either going to put them on YouTube or we were going to put them on a live, like, stage performance.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we came up with doing the idea, I brought you all my sketch comedy. I'm like, look at all these things I've written. And you're like, I might be able to conglomerate a story out of this.
Yeah.
And you did.
Yeah.
You used a lot of the bits, and then we wrote more bits for the movie.
We did.
And it was a lot of fun.
And we threw some straight into the garbage can.
Yes, you were like, this is not going to work.
Well, the ones in crayon were hard to read.
That's right. It was hard.
So with the quill by candlelight, James worked tirelessly.
That's right. I wrote the whole screenplay by Quill.
Yes.
was that necessary?
No,
No.
it was. I did everything as you'll see as we get into this, as complicatedly as I possibly could have.
Awesome.
So many opportunities to simplify, just right by the wayside.
No.
Yes.
It's all right. The movie starred Kurt Mummer,
Yes.
and Joe Goratowski, and Bob Hauser, who will be here later, and Stephanie Bilhars. Who's that?
Actually, it's Polaris.
You've also had a name change. This is before you were Mrs. Ryan Farrell.
Yeah, this is way before. I mean, for the rap party, I couldn't even go out with you guys because I was only 20 years old.
Yeah.
So I literally couldn't get into the bar that you guys were going to. So I was like, okay.
But you
Have
played
fun,
a bartender.
guys. And you played the bartender,
Well,
which is
in
funny.
Wisconsin, you can bartend at
Right.
18. So I was a bartender in Wisconsin, but we had the rap party in Antioch, Illinois.
Yeah.
Well, you
And-
two work together, right?
Well, let me
That's
tell
we
you
do.
how
Yeah,
this
I was
happened.
going to say, James just poaches everyone while he's a server, apparently.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
This is exactly how this is.
That's how he gets you.
That's how I got Nicole and Joe.
Yeah.
and me.
and you. So I was watching this last time. Let me just tell you before I get into how
You got
this
me by
happened,
just
is-
taking me out to dinner. You're
I
like,
know.
How you doing?
I know.
Romantic.
I was watching this with Dana, and as we're watching the movie, and your first scene comes up, Stephanie, and it dawned on me. I turned to my wife and I said, Stephanie is as old in this movie as our daughter is right now. Like, she's 19. And I know when we shot it, you were 19. When it came out, you were 20.
That's wild.
I know. I know.
That is weird.
So my daughter, who's in the movie,
Yes.
right, which we'll get to, is now the same age Stephanie was when we made the picture.
I didn't have a lot of experience at that time. So when you asked me that, I was just like, yeah, let's do it. When's the audition? And I actually came from work for the
Yep.
audition, and I auditioned for Stephanie, ironically, Stephanie. And then
That was a coincidence.
that was a coincidence, and she was a bartender. So they were like, do you want to play yourself in this movie? And I was like, sure, why not?
The movie had a budget of $2,500.
How much?
And did it make any money at the box
what was the
office?
$0 at the box office.
$2,500. It couldn't make its money back at the box office. That's the only reason it's on the show is because it didn't make money at the
That's
box
right, it
office.
bombed.
Commercial failure.
Because it's right now, it's an 8.3 on IMDb.
That is some good stuff.
It's the no joke. It is the highest rated movie we've ever done on this show.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
That is amazing.
Yes,
Change tonight.
it's gonna.
You want to talk? This is going to change after the episode.
You want to talk
airs.
about being able to
somebody watches
swing a thing? There's only 11 votes on there right now, so that thing can move wildly
Yes.
still.
Very
if you
quickly.
wanted it
Well,
to.
this episode might get us a 12th vote.
That's right. That's right. Let's get 12
Thank
votes
you,
on
dear
IMDb.
listeners.
All right, so let's. You guys want to just jump into this movie?
Yes.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's talk about the thing scene by scene like we normally do. For those of you that have never joined us, we're going to walk through the plot of the movie. At the end, we're going to give it some awards, some that you want to win, some that you don't. Ultimately, we'll try to decide, like we always do, is this a good movie? Is it just a bad movie? Or is it a bad movie that rules? If you want to connect with the show, we're very active on our socials. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/badmoviesrule. You can also find us on TikTok at Bad Movies Rule Podcast, or you can email the show any questions, movie suggestions, anything that you want. You can be featured on one of our upcoming mailbags, which is thisshowis_trash@gmail.com.
I can't believe that was available.
Also, last thing I'll say, if you want to be a VIP member, you can join us at patreon.com/badmoviesrule, where you can be hanging out in the Discord with us. We got live parties, live streams coming up. We've got voting on upcoming episodes. You can get bonus recordings that aren't available anywhere else. So if you want to be a member, it's as little as $3 a month to have access to some of that content. So find us at patreon.com/badmoviesrule. All right. So
Do we have any Patreons today?
Oh yeah, we got
Joining the
3
show?
people.
Nice.
3 people have written it, because
That's
one of the things
awesome.
you can do on Patreon is you can submit your own awards for the show.
Oh, I can't wait to
So
hear
we have some of these.
Oh man.
Incidentally, one more thing you can do with the Patreon is you
Yeah.
get a list that's about 3 to 4 weeks in advance of what movies are coming up. If you
right.
wanted to drop some information about one of those movies in advance, you can.
That's true. Also true.
Well
Thanks.
done,
Look at
sir.
that guy. Look at that. He
power.
showed up.
This
Good things
guy.
coming.
He showed up today.
Rack him. All right. The movie starts with a car ride and an opening monologue. So we hear this monologue from who we find out soon will be Mr. Kurt Mummer, but Kurt with a K because it's a different person.
That's right.
Not Kurt
That's
with a
right.
C. And it's about what being a hero is. And then we cut to this shot of Kurt driving down the road. I have to say, watching this for the first time in years was a very weird experience. And I'm sure it's a different experience than anybody that might watch it not having any connection to it at all, because all we see are like what happened, not what's happening. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right? And so for me, it's just it was very, very hard to do what I normally do when I'm going through and trying to write things down and make observations, because all I'm thinking about is what was happening.
Well, and in the scene, I'm singing to the radio. One of my favorite things that you told me, because we had the Pinto on a trailer.
Right, you're being pulled around.
Yeah, by me.
That's how we got the
that
shots
was my
through the
car
windshield.
trailer.
Joe's just pulling it with his arms.
Joe's out there heave-hoeing.
Yeah.
No, but one of my favorite notes you gave me was, Kurt, I need you to act like yourself, but like megafy that. And I was just like, oh, so like me, but over the top. And you're like, yes, for once, I need you to go over the top. And I know usually I tell you not to do that, but I need you to do that this time. And I was like, all right.
Mission accomplished.
Honestly, it reminds me of Ace Ventura.
Yes.
Opening
Thank
scene,
you.
the way that you're like throwing your head around.
Yes.
Yes.
We get Nelson pulls up for a second. That's one of our guys was helping on the crew. Is the guy that's like, nice car, man.
Nice car, bro. Yeah.
That was
And I'm
Nelson.
By the way,
Thank you very much.
I think he's the only nice guy in the whole movie.
Everyone else is a dick. to
Everybody
Kurt.
else is just an ass.
And
Like,
then I
that's
was kind
the
of
one guy that's
kind
like
of a
nice.
jag to him. I'm like, this guy.
Yeah, it went downhill after that.
Yeah.
I was really nice.
You were nice to Kurt. That's right. You and Nelson. That was
Yeah.
it.
I
That
wasn't
was it.
mean. I was just
Confused?
focused.
Why is he in this class?
You were quietly deadly.
That's right.
Well, we'll get into that.
So so Kurt pulls up to his mother's house, and it's a lovely scene with some smashing acting. This is.
That's still.
I want to preface this by saying two things before we get into it.
Go ahead.
One, your mother is one of my favorite people in the whole universe.
She's a saint.
Yeah.
Dolly is the best, and I'm not just saying this. She's just an incredible woman. And every time she used to hook me up with mozzarella sticks in the cafeteria,
Yeah,
and she was a
all you
lunch
guys.
lady
Yeah.
Yep.
in high school. I will never not love Dolly. Okay. Two, this is my not this scene specifically, but I'll zoom out a little bit and say the first 10 minutes of this movie, watching it is all I can see is the mistakes. You know, it's my biggest regret
I remember.
And remember, I told you about
Yes.
this. Is that like the first 10 minutes have got to be like the most like attention grabbing, ass kicking, awesome. I want to watch the rest of this movie.
Yes.
Instead, we front loaded it with like your brother.
What's a spin class?
Yeah, and some of
let's
the
rewind a little bit. I wanted my mom and my brother to be in this.
that was our biggest
so
argument
badly, and you were like, I don't want to do it. I would much rather cast your mom and your brother. And I
as
was like,
actors.
I understand that, but I feel like I just wanted them to be in it so bad because it was a part of my movie. So
Yeah.
I was like, I love them so much,
Yeah.
and you were just like,
Yeah.
I'm dreading this, but okay,
Yeah,
I will do it.
And I think history has proved me right.
You're true. I'm not arguing the fact.
No, because I think this is what it boils down to is in the first 10
We
minutes.
know
I
they're
wonder,
not actors,
We
right.
could get through this 5 minutes. We're going to be good for the rest of this movie.
Sure.
Because this is our biggest point of contention, and it has been for 15 years.
I remember.
you
I
know, is that how many people click off in the first 10 minutes because they're like, oh my gosh, right? Click. And because I know once you get past the first 10 minutes, I'm very proud of this movie. It's awesome. And actually, honestly, I remembered it being worse than it was. When I watched it, I thought your mom wasn't nearly as rough as I remember it being. I did want an actress and an actor in the part. And I understand you wanted your folk. All right. So regardless, if you can make it through the scene, and the scene just basically sets up that Kurt is a super nice guy that takes care of his mom. We're trying to endear you to the audience.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love a guy who takes care of his mom?
Yeah.
When he doesn't have to.
Yeah.
You know,
He-
likes to pick on his brother.
is nice to his idiot brother, right?
Yeah.
Not that your brother in real life is an idiot. I'm talking
No,
about,
but
you
we
know.
made him an idiot.
We made him an idiot in the
wanted him
movie.
to be dumb in the movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we also felt that would help his non-acting skills.
Let's get past this.
Through
I must have been
So
a
You're
moron.
saying he didn't have to act?
No, this is what
Because
we're
that's
saying.
how he was in real life, Kurt?
Yeah,
Is that
if
what
he
you're
doesn't want to
saying?
say it, I'll say it. Yeah. All right, so he leaves his mom's house after buying her some groceries and making fun of his brother, and he goes to his apartment. And this is where things kind of start to move towards his inevitable decision to don a mask and fight crime.
Yes.
And as he pulls up, there's this guy sitting there. I don't know, what is he? He's just drinking beer, staring at a grill.
That was Eric Suela. Yeah, that was a buddy of mine. One of my roommates. There at the time I was living in Antioch and was sharing a house with 3 other guys, and he was one of them. And we needed some redneck looking fella, and I was like, Eric Suela.
Ding, 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 ding,
Hey,
ding,
buddy,
ding.
come on over.
Got one.
Just hold this hot dog over a grill, and
Also, just an incredibly natural, focused actor.
Yes.
You didn't even have to tell him to hold the hot dog on a stick. He already had it when he came.
I don't think he knew where he was, honestly. I think we told Eric, he's like, when are you guys doing that movie? I was like, you were in it, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Remember the hot dog and the grill? Oh, I thought you were making me lunch.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's all right, man.
All right, man.
And obviously, it sets up that Kurt's a pushover because he's not getting this grill back, even though he lent him to him. We
2
find
years
out later,
ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
He heads into his
Did you
apartment.
get that grill back yet?
No.
No.
Yeah, no, I got it back.
Okay.
He heads into the apartment where we meet Eddie. And so here is Eddie, played by Mr. Gorotowski over here, playing video games on the TV, trying to get Captain Exploder.
Yeah.
But is unable,
the 50th time.
unable to
Yep.
dodge his laser attack.
Can't even kill myself.
Right? And we kind of see the interaction between Kurt and Joe. So here's one thing I want to just say and get out of the way. This was 2008. And so one thing that you'll notice in this movie is there are lots of gay jokes, okay?
Yeah.
Which obviously wouldn't be okay today. But at the time, it was just how guys interacted with each other. I mean, any movie from the time, you talk about 40-Year-Old Virgin, Dude, Where's My Car, which we did
Yes.
on here, right? It was just a product of the time. So we don't need to dive into that
No.
other than it's only a few times in the movie, but I just want to say something about it so that we're not pretending like it's not in there.
Not only is it
Fair
only
enough.
the few times, it's always Joe.
It's always Joe too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. My lines were written, by the way. Yeah. I had no part of it. James, who's the writer in this film?
Kurt.
No, that was me. That was me.
I wasn't a
bother
writer.
me.
There was some other guy, right?
I was the behind the scenes guy, like dragging Kurt along,
Yeah.
on the car trailer with my truck, doing the lights,
right.
doing the building the car. I mean, all the other stuff. That was my main job. I just acted as a favor.
So when Nicole said the joke about Joe pulling the car by himself, it's not far off. And basically, when he wasn't on camera, he was doing everything else that needed to be done.
Correct.
For the show,
Most
for the
of
movie.
us were.
Most of us were. Everybody was. So this scene basically just sets up
Except Steph.
their relationship. Yeah, Stephanie didn't do anything.
I was very useless.
I'm just 19. I don't know anything. I'm gonna have a baby later.
And you know what? You guys believed it. I didn't have to do anything.
Facts.
We do find out a little bit about Kurt in the scene that he had problems with his dad, that kind of thought that because he liked to do art and not play sports, that there was something wrong
Well,
with
and
him.
that's where I preferenced. So the writing for the gay thing
Yeah.
was more of making fun of my dad.
Because he
for
used to
that.
say that stuff to
Yes,
you.
constantly.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, in real life, my dad was like, "You're gonna be gay."
Yeah.
And he would like get mad about things like that. And
Because you were an artist, you like to draw. And do
yeah,
that
and I
kind of
didn't
stuff.
want to do wrestling or football or any of that stuff, and
Right.
it really made him kind of angry. So whatever anger he had built up for whatever reason. So I applied that, and that's where Joe kind of fed off of that to where it's not picking on anybody who's going that route. It's
No, we
just-
don't need to belabor that. I'm
Right. It's
saying.
just more of the fact that it's more to show how old fashioned it really was.
Sure.
Is how I felt about it. But-
We did get to milk that for a great joke of the flashback of you trying to play sports. As a
Oh,
kid.
absolutely. That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
We got a great person to look exactly like Kurt Mummer as a child.
Yeah, so that's my my old coworker's son Cameron, who's now probably 36 years old. I don't know how old he is, but he was.
He
a
still
great
gets
kid.
royalties off of
and
that, I
he's
think.
super athletic. Like he was a super athlete. He played all these sports and stuff, and so it was really
Yeah,
fun.
he
for
brought
him.
all his own gear.
That was his
Yeah, it
own
was
stuff,
fantastic.
and it was great. And so,
Which I loved. I loved the touch when you and I were talking about making this scene.
Mm-hmm.
I remember we were like, how can we make it look like it's me in the old days? And you were like, what if we just make it look like an old timey video?
like it's from the 1800s.
And I laughed so hard. I was like a silent movie? And you're like, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
The music's perfect. Everything you did a great job. I enjoyed that.
So we find out that at the end of the scene, we find out Kurt is leaving to go surprise his girlfriend, Laura. He's going to go stop and get flowers for her, and he's going to take her on a date, but she doesn't know that this is happening.
Yeah.
Okay. And so Kurt leaves the apartment to go to a floral shop. And that's a very, very short scene. But again, just another one to establish that he's a pushover.
Pushover,
because
right.
here are these, this is his little sister
Yes.
playing this part
Yes.
at the counter. Not
her
the
best
person
friend.
that works there,
yeah.
but the other person, the one that was like, do something. That was
Yeah.
your little sister, Brittany.
Yes.
Yeah. And again, once again, I point out that everybody in this movie is absolute jerks.
Yes.
Like
To
I've
me,
never been
right.
to a flower shop and they had to, ask for some flowers. and the lady just roll her eyes.
Right. It's like, what do you come here
You're
for
in here to buy
flowers?
flowers? What a jerk! What an idiot!
The hell you think this is?
Well, I came in late. It was starting to get close to closing time. That
It was daytime.
supposed to be.
It was fully lit outside.
You want
$12
$12 worth of
Daylight
flowers?
savings time. Okay.
Yeah, but like,
What'll one
floral
Hamilton
shops-
get me?
Floral shops don't stay open until 9 o'clock at night.
Well,
They close at like 5.
Maybe it's just because I'm old now, but I feel like $10 in 2008 would have got you a lot more than some carnations.
something. Yeah.
Something. But
Got me a
whatever.
card.
Maybe we should have said you had a
Well,
Lincoln.
no, he's just a cheap
Lincoln.
bastard.
He's just that's right. He calls it cheap bastard.
Yeah.
All right, so here's the first big scene is he is now driving to Laura's house. Now, earlier when I said I made things as needlessly complicated as possible, here's a perfect example. Because it would have been simple just to have her be at her house because she doesn't know Kurt's coming and to have a man over at her house. But instead I said, no, he's got to randomly see her car in somebody else's driveway.
Yes.
Stop. Somehow know it's a dude's house when he calls Joe and then go in there and confront them. Now, why on earth would I make it that complicated?
I don't know.
It sounds so
don't know.
cool.
But
Sounds cool.
Nobody knows.
No.
I will say though that telephone call, yeah, that hurt. That hurt, guys.
There is a personal.
There was a personal jab there.
Yes.
Go ahead. If you guys,
It was
anybody,
hard to
please.
watch.
Yeah.
I
It's hard to
realized.
get through.
I realized after the point that
I took that personal.
inside jokes are not really a good thing to put in movies.
No.
That are made for a broad audience, and that's a 90 seconds with a minute and a half that feels like 4 minutes
Of an inside
of
joke.
an inside joke.
Yeah.
Which is Kurt trying to call Joe Eddie here to tell him something. And what would happen back then, not as much anymore, but back then when you would call Joe,
Nothing anymore. Because of that.
when you called Joe would pick up the phone and immediately start doing a bit, a voice,
Yes.
jokes, something.
Yes.
Before,
Johnny
funny.
the Oak Tree.
before you could even get to what you're trying to say
Johnny
to him,
Oaktree.
have
Johnny
to-
Oak Tree.
get through it all.
Who else? Who else did I do?
Joe, you'd literally be working and Joe would call you. And you'd be with a customer or a coworker or whatever. You'd be like,
hey there, Kurt. It's Johnny Oaktree here. I'm here to motivate you.
hi, Johnny. How's
Hey,
it?
buddy, how's it going, man?
And you're trying to be like professional on the other end, but Joe is just going to town. And you're like, the ways
It's okay,
it
buddy.
would
Just go ahead and lean against old Johnny Oaktree over here.
Just want to tell you something. You know what? I need to motivate you.
Pulls up to this house. He calls Joe because he sees his girlfriend's car and she's like, she's at this dude's house and I know it's a dude because I don't know. Is it? You had a superpower and you didn't even know about it. You could tell whose houses were dudes and
Yes.
whose were
It's
not.
amazing.
And he goes
I
up.
also have the ability to heal really quickly in this movie.
He goes up to the door. He looks through the window and he can see this guy who's played by Artie Acosta, making out with his girlfriend, who is played by Gwen Shehorn, the daughter of our drama teacher when we were in high school.
Yes.
Late drama teacher.
Our late drama teacher, Michael, and so he just looks in the window and starts. I think Artie would get a kick out of this. We're watching this, and my wife goes, "You guys couldn't find a hotter guy for her to cheat with?"
Personality, man.
And
Already had the personality.
Artie is an awesome.
He's a majestic man. Him and his brother.
Him and his brother John. There's also a cameo later on. So Kurt goes up and knocks on the door.
Yeah.
And Artie opens it up, and they really struggled to get through this scene.
Yeah, I was cracking Artie up constantly.
Right.
And then I would laugh because he'd start laughing.
And so that's why when he smarts off to this guy, or after his girlfriend's like, "You got to get out of here. What are you doing? You're such a loser. Get lost. Let me continue to cheat on you with this guy. Get out of here." When Artie goes to reach for him, Kurt's still smiling. You see when he gets pulled in, like he still has a smirk on his face. And we had to use that because we couldn't get a shot of him. That was the best one. We couldn't get a shot of on either side. If I use the shot of Artie, he's smiling. If I use the shot of you, you're smiling.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be like getting pulled in to get your butt destroyed.
Well, yes, and there's a moment where I remember the way that I get grabbed and pulled in is so comical because I just go limp and he
He comes in and he just,
he grabs in and I go, huh? And I like throw my arms back and I do the whole like whoop-a-boo.
It's a little cartoony.
Yeah, and so I think that was one of the moments where I shouldn't have been over the top.
Yeah.
But in my head, I was going, this is going to be hilarious.
Right.
And then I would do that, and Artie would laugh every time.
Yeah.
And then I would laugh. So even when he would start to reach, he knew it was coming.
Yeah.
And I would smirk.
He would.
And then as soon as he'd pull me, I'd be fine. But every
He was
time.
out of frame by then.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter.
Right.
We could do this 47 more times, or we could just keep going.
Yeah.
Right.
So-
we made that decision a lot.
With that,
Yeah.
when he knocks on the door, how does Gwen know
Yeah.
that it's Kurt?
What are you talking about? He has a very specific knock.
Yeah.
Mel.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Because
Okay.
she's flipping out like, oh my God, how'd he find me?
Yeah.
Well, that's when I'm like, your car's right outside.
On the other side of the
Cheating
room.
on Kurt.
On the other side of the room, there's a huge mirror. You know, on the back side of the room.
They like to watch
Look
each other
up,
make out.
and
Yeah.
she could see out the window behind her. That's how. I mean,
I think
don't know
Mel's
if you guys do
positive
that.
there's not a mirror right there in that particular room.
There was a fish tank, though.
Yes, there was a fish tank.
I wonder
no,
why.
I legitimately, I'm going through this movie. You touched on it earlier. We're going through, and you're experiencing the day, and it's like I'm telling my daughter, I was like, "Oh, that's Mel's house. That
Yep.
over there. That's
Yep.
I'm just going through. Oh, that's James's car. That's I put a motor in that thing when he paid it off like 1 month and had to put a motor in it. It was
That's
crazy.
the fun part of this
Oh, it
movie,
was-
too. Try and
for us,
find
that's
James'
the
car
fun. Yeah.
in every scene.
It's every
Oh,
scene.
the Silver Cavalier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, you can add $18 to that budget for my door
Yeah.
closer.
Oh, broke the door closer. Yeah.
He broke my door closer on that one.
Yeah.
And that's why I asked Artie to be there.
Yeah. So that was
Big enough that he broke a door closer.
that scene was filmed in Mel's house. And as we were about to go outside here, so as you see, Kurt gets his head smashed in the door, which I wish
Thrown in the
now
bush.
I would have had him do it much wider because he's
Yes.
just like ding, 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 like from really
Hey,
short distance.
That still hurts, though.
And he drags him through the front yard. One of my favorite lines in the movie is, "Oh, look, the Big Dipper." He's getting dragged away. And you were game for this, Kurt. He slammed you for real straight
Yes.
into the side of your Pinto
Yes.
And dented it.
and dented it.
And the dent's still there, isn't it?
Yes.
And then he
100%.
sits there, and there's like the broken flowers on the street, and his thing, and it's all kind of this emotional. A couple times we tried to have a real moment, didn't usually
Tried.
work. We tried at this real moment, and then, but when we were shooting from across the street, you hear, "Kurt,
Oh my gosh, you're right. I
is
forgot about
that
that.
you?"
Are you okay?
Middle of filming,
And James stands up,
and fires my hat like
hat onto the ground. And I was like, who is that? Who is saying
Just
my name
ruined a
in
shot.
the middle of the show, in the middle of the shot?
In my neighborhood.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's my sister.
was
She
Brittany.
comes walking up.
Just randomly comes walking up.
who knew we were making a movie because she was in it.
Yes. And she goes, "Oh my gosh, I thought you were getting beat up."
Oh.
And I'm like,
You are a
"It's
good actor, Kurt."
acting. There are lights everywhere. There is 100 people standing here that would be more than happy to help me if I was getting abused.
The guy with the camera.
No, it just we really
She just thought it was a new episode of Bum Fights, Antioch.
Yeah.
right. We just took all these lights around Johelia and tried to find somebody getting beat up. That's what happened. So yeah, so Kurt gets back in his Pinto, pulls away. We get the shot of the crushed flowers with the "Love Kurt" on it. Oh, wah,
Kurt
wah,
with a K.
wah.
Wah, wah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And this
Is
is
it
where
true that you named him Kurt with a K because when you tried to change the name more for the character, he just wouldn't respond when you'd call him?
Yes.
You had to keep the name really close.
Yeah.
that's why we had to have Stephanie be Stephanie and Kurt
Yeah,
be Kurt.
it's
to make
method
it easy.
acting.
Just to make it easy. He
I've
had
been
to
in
be
character since 2009.
Well, speaking of
Me
Stephanie,
too, Steph. Me
What a
too.
method actress right here.
this is where we meet Stephanie. So at this
Yeah.
point, we cut to
Katy Perry.
the local bar where,
Yeah.
right, kind of. And we cut to the local bar, and Kurt is there getting drunk. He's still bruised and dirty and beaten up. And we see this lovely bartender who's being very nice to this injured drunk man. And do you what? That was
But
your
I
first
clearly
day shooting, right?
overserved him.
Clearly.
First impressions, having just been asked, "Hey, you want to be in this movie?" Then you show up and you start doing it, and there's these weirdos and
Mustaches.
Honestly,
What, do you remember your first impressions of what was going on?
Absolutely. I felt like I fit right in, to be honest. Like, I'm also a weirdo. I felt like I fit right in.
mean,
I
guys
think
are
you did.
crazy,
You did.
And so am I.
mean,
So.
No, it seemed effortless.
When Ryan stood in that brick, alleyway and peed on that wall, man.
Yeah.
I could see.
I knew it was it.
I could see how any woman would be taken by that.
Yeah.
I was.
Full head of hair.
Stephanie is standing off camera. Ryan runs on, pees on the wall. Dreamweaver, I believe,
get me through the night.
So we come in, we meet Stephanie. Stephanie is serving Kurt, who is blitzed out of his mind.
Yes.
And she brings him some ice, and, you know, he goes, you know, what's the line again?
Yeah.
I say basically, like, I hope we don't run out of ice.
As a joke. Like,
as a joke.
Yeah.
And then Kurt's like, oh, well, you know, we could, like, I could just go to the store and get you more. And, you know, and I'm there like,
What a Kurt thing to say.
And then the line truly that has haunted me for the last 13 years that Ryan never lets go of. Or we could freeze more water.
what's wrong with that line? That's a great line.
It's a great line.
When we wrote that, we thought it was fantastic.
I was just watching that scene before coming here today.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, we can freeze more water. And Ryan's like, ah!
She said it.
Say the thing. That's right. So Kurt
Yes.
is picked up by Eddie. Eddie shows up
Correct.
to come and take Kurt and to drive him home. And Kurt's like, but he plays like he's drunk and you need him to navigate to get him, you know, out the door and whatever. He goes over, he tries to shoot his shot with Stephanie, but he's too drunk to do it, essentially. Ends up giving you your towel back, and he says something along the lines
Vergiss
of,
Deutsch.
that was the outtake. But he's like, basically says nothing, and he's like, see, she understands,
Yeah.
and
I
walks
go,
out the
Steph,
door.
you know, I just,
And
you
I'm
know,
just like,
and she's like,
Yep.
yeah. And I was like, see, she knows.
yeah. And
That's
then
right.
the outtake's
Let's go.
like, I have a boner.
Oh my gosh, that was
You
one of
guys
the best
remember
outtakes.
Sesame Street?
Yes,
I have a boner.
that's right.
Well, that was one
And
of
that's
my
why
other
you're kind of laughing as they, even the cut that made it in the movie, you're still kind of laughing as they leave.
That was just true information, though. That he wasn't acting; he was just giving out information.
That's right. That's right.
I'm a factual actor.
And so we cut now to the comic book shop, which is filmed in Grays Lake, Illinois, at Jay's Comics, which is still there.
Yeah.
Yes.
To this day.
Yep.
Go visit that place.
Go there if you're ever in Grays Lake, Illinois. And we see that Kurt works at a comic book shop because, of course, he does.
Yes.
And he's sitting there and he's doodling and he's drawing stuff. And we get these two guys that come in named Benny Waddell and Matt Fleming.
Yes.
Two old buddies of ours. Now, Benny is the one we talked about that was going to film school, and he actually shot the film.
Yep.
And was the DP, but he was in this because he had dabbled in acting here and there. So had Matt. So we pulled both of them in to be these two comic book nerds that come in and argue.
Benny's dead stare is the best part of that whole
Matt.
scene.
Yes. Can I
get my
When
books
when
now?
Matt makes the comment.
Yes.
And Benny just
Yeah, my favorite line in the whole scene is everything you say is stupid.
Yes. Yeah.
Everyone knows but you.
Your mom knows.
You need to make a T-shirt of that.
She hates you too.
Yes.
Everyone knows but you.
Yeah. And so this was obviously it's become kind of an in-fashion thing now, these comic book nerds that argue about stupid things. But at the time, that was just kind of really how it was when we would be hanging around with these people.
Well, and that was always the
buying
best
comics.
part about working in a comic book store.
Right.
Well, this was before like Big Bang Theory.
It was before all of that.
Yeah.
Right?
So this that's how it was.
Really?
I'm telling you, the Mummerman is the predecessor to a lot of things.
You're not kidding. Here, look.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's what I'll say. We had to make this a prequel to The Next Level, that movie that will never be seen, because the Mummerman is in The Next Level for one scene, and Eddie is his roommate.
Yep.
So I'm like, when we do this, it has to be set before that, and you have to play the same character, Joe, because
Yep,
Eddie
that's
was already
why.
his roommate. And then at the end of the Mummerman, we have a post-credit scene pointing to the next movie, and I'm like,
post-credit
we're
scene.
doing the MCU interconnected universe
Before
yeah.
MCU was doing the interconnected universe.
100%.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes,
That's what
thank
he's
you.
saying. Say it louder.
I also drove
Say it with more
backwards
energy.
in the car.
It's
Be
true.
proud of that.
You could
Made
say he
that
took
joke.
that thing to the next level.
You shut up.
Hold on. Will you wait
shut
just a
your
damn
face.
minute? Okay.
I will get a flip
Push
flop.
the button.
I'm not the only
It's a
one today.
movie.
This
It's
is
the name
fantastic.
of the
Kurt, have
film
you even made
that
one
you're
pun
referring
today?
to.
Yes,
Yes,
I
he
did the hose.
He did.
Oh.
Panty.
Back to the comic book scene. I do like how Benny is acting in the scene and Matt is just being himself.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Ultimately, this is my second big regret. I already mentioned my first one. There's only really two. The second one here is I felt like, from a scripting standpoint,
There's really only two?
big regrets.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's like a million little
There's
things.
hundreds of small things.
Right there, I go, oh, I do that different. Oh, I should have done this or that. But two big ones is, again, I just needed to simplify, and for whatever reason, I was making it overly complicated. I remember at the time really struggling to come up with a decent catalyst for whatever it is that compels you to put on a costume and be a superhero. And so what we end up with is this kind of weird, like this guy just comes in and says something, and then you're like, oh, I guess I'll do that. And then I just don't feel like it's a really great, compelling.
I did.
I don't think
And I
it
liked it
translates at all.
because it was odd.
It doesn't work.
That's what makes me happy
I didn't
about
think
it.
of it all. I did.
I think it's hilarious when Benny does the whole, like, what do you mean? And then Matt goes, well, it's full circle because he says Spider-Man's going to become a spider in the next. And then, yeah. And then he's like,
Yeah.
what? And then they do the whole banter.
We could have made it much more simple somehow. Again, I just had another thing happen. I don't want to belabor it,
It
but
could have been a
but that's
5-minute movie.
The only thing that he pulls out of it, he's like, a mask?
right,
Out of that
exactly.
whole,
And then
like,
now he's going to be a
10-minute
superhero, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A mask.
That's
Right.
what makes it hilarious.
I think it
Because
sucks.
I think it's funny.
I
Because
love the
I
extremely hardly shot montage of you drawing out the.
That was fantastic.
that-
No one has ever gone harder on a drawing montage than Mummerman.
Never.
right.
This movie.
Nobody's ever ripped off, Batman, the animated series, and then just did Mummerman.
That's what I wanted because I think it's so hilarious.
We get a trope alert for that.
Oh, for sure, 100%.
There we go.
Yeah, so here's montage number 1. We get a costume drawing montage of him drawing and designing.
montage.
I mean,
he went hard
there's
on
like
that, though.
3 montages.
There's 4.
There's
I
four.
counted them.
Yes.
This is the first of 4.
It's like so many montages.
I
And
wanted
we
to-
wanted that.
I wanted to beat Rocky 4 is what I wanted to do.
Did we do it?
I think maybe they had 3 or 4. We at least tied them
Yeah.
for a number of montages because that was one of my favorite movies.
Good.
But this first one is him making the costume. Well, first he draws the costume and then he goes and makes it. And I'm really bummed we didn't like backstory your sewing capabilities. Like
Yes.
we just
Jesus.
put that out there without any kind of explanation at all.
And how I sewed my sock to the suit.
To the suit, to your shirt.
Yes.
I was torn today of having my wife actually sew a sock to his shirt so I could come in here and do that instead. I was really torn.
That's awesome.
By the end of it, you have your costume, and it cuts to you looking in the mirror of a bathroom. And I do want to call something out specifically here. You're like, listen, whoever you are, your fault, my fault, whatever the line is.
Your
In the
fault,
mirror,
my
right?
fault,
In the mirror.
anybody's fault.
I'm going to tear you apart. That's
Yeah.
right. And he's pretending like he's talking to a bad guy in the mirror. The whole reason I put that in is because of my dad. So my dad was a huge John Wayne fan.
Yes.
I mean, anybody that knows him knows he would come in late at night and want to put on True Grit or Big
Yep.
Jake or whatever and watch that stuff. And so
Well, that's why you guys love him so much. And,
Yeah.
and Bob, too. I mean,
yeah. And so there's this movie, an old John Wayne movie called Big Jake, where that's the final showdown between John Wayne and the bad guy. He says this to him. He goes, your fault, my fault, nobody's fault. I'm going to blow your head off, right? And so I changed the line a little bit, but that's essentially in there because it was my dad's favorite line of dialogue from any movie he's ever watched.
Yeah.
So just a little Easter egg there. But he basically is talking to himself in the mirror when Joe screams from the other room, like, what the hell are you doing in there?
Nothing.
leave me alone. God. Trying to brush my teeth.
God, it's my private time.
Stop acting.
So he jumps out and he displays the costume for Eddie, who is really not super supportive at
No,
first.
no.
And it cues the music and this heartfelt speech from
Yes.
Kurt, right?
Yes.
Because what we want to do here is we want to cheeseball it up a little bit, bring the drama in, act like it's really a serious thing, have him staring out the window. There are people in this world who, or, whatever the monologue is, to set up this joke with these kids
Yes.
down in the driveway. As we see, he's like, I know what it's like to be bullied, man. You don't understand. Look at this kid down here.
I know how he feels.
Well, this kid's getting pushed around by all these other kids down on in the driveway, and you can see it through the window down to the street.
which was a nice shot.
Yeah.
Was this right before or right after me asking him questions?
That's after.
Okay, never mind.
So, so
Cut that one out.
Watch the movie.
I'm in it. I did. I just
So Kurt goes, I see, I know how this kid feels. I'm going to go make his day. And Kurt leaves. It's all in one shot. He leaves the shot, goes downstairs,
Yes.
out into the parking lot where these kids are picking on. They immediately stop picking on that kid.
Immediately.
Who also joins in with them and start beating the crap out
my
of
God.
Kurt
Yeah.
in the parking lot. Where do we find these kids? Some of them,
Hashtag elbow kid.
some of them were Perini
so
kids.
they're
Some of them were neighborhood kids.
No, they were all friends. So they all knew each other. And it was one of those groups where it was a group of kids from the Perini. So Erica Perini, who's also in the movie, her son, that's his group of friends.
Okay.
So at that time,
So
they
his kids are friends.
So they all.
Do you think they sit around and talk about bashing a bicycle off of the superhero guy? Like literally, they.
Well, that's the thing. Is I didn't tell
they'd
that
have
kid to start hitting him with the bike.
That was awesome.
Okay.
That was the kid that was getting bullied. That's the best part.
And that's Ryan. That was Ryan.
Yeah.
At least
That
your
was-
costume could cover the bruise.
And so as they
that
dispersed,
was Erica's son.
and all start jumping on their huffies to get out of there.
Yes.
This one kid takes his bike and just starts ramming it into Kurt's
Yes.
chest.
Yes.
And
I love
side.
the kid with the elbow. Dropping the
gotta
elbows
drop the elbow
right
on
in the
him.
middle of your back.
Oh yeah,
That was
a good
one.
time.
And then Eddie's like, all right, gonna go get him. And ultimately, pulls him upstairs and decides, all right, I'll be supportive. If you're gonna do this, you're gonna need a certain thing. So he starts going through questions like,
That's what I got.
do you have first you're going to need a name, right? Which he doesn't understand why you would have your last name in your superhero.
Correct. Right.
Because it gives away your secret
Batwayne.
identity.
Right.
Batwayne.
Yep. Spider Parker.
Watch
Incredible.
out, ladies and gentlemen. Is it the Incredible Bruce?
But because it wouldn't work, people wouldn't even think it'd be you because that would be such a dumb idea. So it's
Right.
perfect.
Reverse psychology.
Perfect. Asks if he has any superpowers, which
I think is the best part of the whole movie.
is when Kurt flips the table.
Yes, I think when we actually watched this in the theater with our friends and such, I thought that one scene was gonna kill it.
Yeah.
And I was really disappointed that not enough people laughed at that one scene because I thought it was the best.
It's a great scene.
I thought it was done where I asked him if he had any superpowers of like maybe like a beatdown would generate stimulate
Right.
anything. All of a sudden the music builds and he starts going crazy and he flips the table. He's like, no, I got nothing.
Yeah.
You just come back to me.
So James and I are old school fans of.
I was worried about James's stuff. That's why I didn't laugh. I was like, oh my God, it's James's stuff.
James sold me that table.
That was my old coffee table, yeah.
But no, the thing that we were paying homage to there was old comic books. So that was from The Incredible Hulk with Lou Ferrigno.
Right. So at this point now, Joe's like, all right, he goes through the things with him. He's like, all right, now we got to go to the workshop, right? Yeah, we're going to set up a workshop because if you're going to be a superhero, you got to have gadgets and all this stuff. And we don't get to the other thing.
Gotta have a layer.
We gotta have a layer, right? And so we go and we get our second scene with Sean, who nothing what he said was what was scripted in the dialogue. I was like, all you have to say is you want to use the garage for your secret superhero layer.
Yeah.
But what he says is not
couldn't
something
tongue
that's
twister
English. You want to go to the garage for your secret layer.
Yeah, for your secret superhero lair.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So regardless, he get the keys from him, and then we get montage number 2.
Yep.
Right? Where we
My
get
garage.
Your garage. It's your garage, in
garage.
reality. Yeah. What's the first thing we have you doing in this montage? You're just trying to nail a nail into the top of the workshop bench?
Yeah. For some reason, we thought it'd be funny if he had a 5-pound
Useless
sledgehammer.
things. Yeah.
And
it was a
If
Stooges
Miyagi
bit.
can have you paint a fence, then
Yeah.
you can do that.
Yeah.
Fine.
He's.
I see it.
It was a Stooges bit.
I just felt like, well, here.
It's a trope.
Trope.
It's a trope.
The characters are as stupid or as smart as you need them to be for whatever scene it is. And so here we made Kurt so stupid he didn't know how goggles work.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
What is this?
But I know how to put my mask on.
Yeah.
Which is basically the same mechanism as those goggles.
Totally different. No.
They're completely different.
No.
They're also not safety goggles. They're like snowboarding.
Yeah. They're paintball goggles.
There you
Those are
go.
old paintball goggles.
And so we get this. Joe is a great scene from Joe because now he goes down the assembly line to say, here's all these things that I made for you, right?
Yep. There's one of them.
And so here's one of them, which is
Mummer Star.
a Mummer Star, which is actually made out of sheet metal, as you said in the movie.
But it was high strength
Titanium alloy.
alien.
There you
You have aliens?
Yeah.
God, I hated that.
Here's the cool thing about this is these work.
Yeah.
Okay. We had a board we were chucking these into
Yes.
in
Oh, I
your garage.
forgot about that.
And they would legit stick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chuck it now. Do it.
I'm not going to, 'cause it's going to go through the monitor.
I'm
wall
also
here.
like in front of you. Don't do that.
This wall right here.
Yeah. So this is
there was an
this is
accident
the
at the kids'
Mummerman.
table.
I'll just stick it in there and it'll become part of the decoration. This is a Mummer Star. You also made what I think is the coolest thing we built for this movie, which was the
Portable
compact
grappling
portable grappling hook.
Yeah, which was that massive thing.
The grappler hook.
Compact and portable. You're using those loosely.
Well, that was put together with a bunch of PVC. I used that for some horror film
Yeah.
shots where we needed to pump blood out into scenes. So I had built this. You fill it up with fake blood and you
Yeah.
air pressurize it. And you had a little ball valve. But then I modified it to a launcher. So that was one of the things I used for that.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great joke that if in reality, because there's been other homemade superhero movies, but I don't know
Yes.
if anybody had the giant grappling gun where it's like
Nobody.
If you wanted to do this thing that Batman could do, but you had to build it yourself, it would be massive.
Yes.
Right.
And
it
that
would not
was the
be
great
this little
joke
thing
of it.
that fit on your belt, right?
Yeah.
And so we ended up with this huge thing, which we use a few times in the movie. And then Kurt made something. He made what was supposed to be nun chicks, as in nunchucks, but he called them numb chicks.
Yeah, numchicks.
I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. I kind of like that better, actually.
Yeah.
Numb chicks, which were two rubber chickens tied together.
Yeah.
And you demonstrated them in a shot that I let go way too long.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
But the bia at the end.
Oh, it's great.
And
Get it?
slapping Joe through
Yeah.
half of it, where he's just
Right.
Give us the bia.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Perfect. And so you get through all of his gadgets, and then he goes, "All right, I got a couple more things to show you." And then Joe holds up a piece of paper. He's like, "All right, check out this schematic that you cannot see in any way, shape, or form."
I know. It's such a nice drawing. It was so blown out on the camera you couldn't see it.
It looked like a blank sheet of paper.
I drew something.
You drew this whole schematic, and it was useless.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't get the lighting right to focus it.
Well, I think it was I was supposed to actually make it, but I didn't have the time or the resources to actually make it.
Yeah.
So we decided just to draw
That
it.
didn't happen on this movie.
Do the picture. And it was just one of my favorite takes of you in the entire movie is when you go like very excitedly, like, "Oh, it's going to shoot things and chop people's heads off." And Kurt's like, that's a little too much. And Joe's like, "You don't like it. That's
Fine.
crunch.
I see how this is.
crunch, whatever else."
Find another Eddie best friend and have them make
He's like,
it.
no, man. It's good. It's good.
Bunch of jerks.
You saved your best invention for last, which was the escape hatch.
Yes.
The escape hatch, which I'll tell this story quick. Originally in the script, he was going to come out of a dryer and a laundromat.
Yes.
Okay, that the escape hatch to get in and out of his lair was to go
Because
into a dryer.
when he comes back,
Yeah.
he's got underwear and socks
on him.
like on
so
him.
At the time we shot that, that's what we thought we were going to do.
Yep.
We couldn't get the laundromat that would let us do it.
Yeah.
Okay. So we had to change it. And I don't remember who came up with the idea, but we ultimately decided that what if it came out from underneath some little girl's bed?
Because it was the boogeyman.
Choices were made.
The boogeyman joke.
Choices were made
on that.
And so that's my daughter, Grace, who you've heard, if you listen to the show for a long time, she's been on a couple episodes of the show.
Yes.
Who's, as we said earlier, is now 19 years old. I don't know. At the time, she would have been 5.
Probably
Yep.
5, yeah.
5 years old. And she's standing there, and Kurt crawls out from underneath the bed. This was shot at your house.
Yes.
Right? And he calls out, and she says, "Are you the boogeyman?" He's like, "I know, I'm the Mummerman." "Mom, there's somebody under my bed."
Yeah, I gotta go.
That's one of the funniest parts is you going, "I gotta go."
I gotta go. And he's crawling back.
That was all ADR'd. So when he comes crawling back out, because at the time we shot it, we didn't know that. So that was all post-recorded. You know, that comes out from, you can't see Kurt's face as he's saying any of that.
Yep.
And so his thing about, "Oh yeah, it's okay, it's my cousin's," was supposed to be about, it was his cousin's laundromat.
Yeah, because it was my cousin's laundromat, but it was being renovated at
Right.
the time, and we were like, "Well, crap."
Yeah,
So
exactly.
now what do we do?
Now what do we do?
And there was going to be a kid that said, "What's up, sock man?" And I'm like, "Here's a quarter. Put me on tumble." That's
right.
That was
gonna
the
be
joke, yeah.
That was the joke. All right, so the last thing you need, he goes, "All right, you've got You've got the
Lair.
the layer, and you've got the gadgets. Now we got to get you a car.
That's
Yes.
Oh man.
And so
Q 1985 Mercury Grand Marquis that I had picked up.
The mum key.
Yep, that I picked up because I was in Demolition Derby at the time.
it was going to be a demo car for you.
It's going to be a demo car.
and
so-
it did become a demo
Oh
car.
yeah,
for you.
yeah. We wrecked that.
By
thing
the way,
really
if you
good.
want to watch the Mummer car get destroyed, that's on YouTube.
it is
And you can watch it get absolutely
like
That was
Lake,
a good
Lake
time.
County
Yeah.
Fair in-car camera 1 and 2.
I'll post a link to
My
it
first
somewhere
demo derby.
so you guys can see it.
I was in the car with Joe.
Yeah, riding shotgun. We filmed with a camera inside the vehicle. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
Oh my god.
I know. It was awesome. So there's these two people that are working at the car dealership. I don't know who one of those guys is.
Sean Riley.
Sean
Sean
Riley.
Riley,
Who
is that
he?
what it was?
So he's a friend of mine from back in the heyday.
Okay, because as I'm watching this movie, I go, I have no memory of this man or who he is or where he came from.
You got a face full of coffee though.
He
Yeah.
did. So the other guy that's there is Patrick Riley, spelled differently, oddly
Yes.
enough.
Yeah.
And Pat Riley, you've heard on the show, he was on the Killer Clowns episode and the Batman episode. Good friend of ours, now lives up in Madison, Wisconsin, and one of just the most naturally funny dudes
Yes.
I have ever met
100%.
in my life.
God, he was so good in that scene.
Patrick,
Yeah, it's one of my favorite scenes.
he's great,
By
right?
far.
Patrick worked with me, so he was a new guy when I was in banking. He came in as another personal banker and had the desk next to me. That's how I met him. And just like immediately, we were just riffing and just having a blast. And so we were in sales together, and I'm like, you've got to play the sales guy because you understand sales and how sleazy it is.
Yep.
And so the whole joke of the scene is when these two walk up, he assumes they're a couple.
Yeah. Yes.
And he's then himself willing to do whatever he has to do to make the sale.
Yep.
Okay. Which is flirt with them.
Yeah, you could see it click in his head. Like it's so clear. Like he did such a great job. Legitimately, he walks up. He's like, "I'm going to steal this sale. That's my sale. That's my cousin. These are friends of mine. That's my cousin.
right.
Which one is it?" Like,
Yeah.
he's doing this, but it's like, "I'm here to buy this car." It's like, well. I'm going to buy this car.
We're here to buy the
We're going
car.
to buy this car
Yeah.
together. It's like, oh, and it's like a click.
He's like,
it's,
oh, all right.
so good, dude.
And I'm clueless to it.
Yeah.
Which I think is fantastic because even Joe's like, well, we're gonna.
Well,
Eddie's like,
technically, I
we're
was
gonna buy it
clueless as
together.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They both were. And so he just starts saying things like gorgeous and pretty eyes and come on over here, gorgeous. And I remember telling him the idea for the scene at the bank. It was dead and we're just talking in there. And he's the one that came up with the line about what happens in the back seat.
Yes.
Because we were just improvising, right? And I'm like, so they'll walk up and we'll do it. And then he just starts riffing. He's in the bank. Again, no customers there. He's like, hey, you like this car? You want to buy it, gorgeous? Hey, come on over here. Look at this. There's enough room for 4 or 5 grown men to wrestle naked back here. And I'm
That line was the best.
dying on like crying at my desk, and I put it in the script. That was all Patrick. I want to give him credit for
Oh
it.
my gosh.
And my God, the man is incredible. So kudos to him
Yes, absolutely.
for killing it in
So
this
happy
movie.
he was in there.
Yeah, but what was in the back seat of the car? when
That
he
was a
opens it
gas
up?
tank.
Boat fuel tank.
No,
Like the
that
demo?
was a specially made Demolition Derby gas tank. It was made out of 1/4-inch plate steel, so it didn't get punctured. But that was that was just the gas tank sitting there. And I wanted to hide it, and James was like, no, leave it in there. Leave it
Because it's supposed to be a pile of. He's like, oh, that's
yeah.
got good miles on it and all
yeah,
this.
it's
stuff.
370,000 miles.
It's a grandma's car.
It's grandma.
She
It's
drove
church
it to
miles.
church every
It's church
that's
miles.
it.
But how is it in a
Can't be
high-speed
late
chase?
for church.
High-speed chase, you say that's sexy.
That's sexy.
Whoa, what?
So
How many times do we do that? scene?
something did almost get punctured at,
Oh my god!
at the car dealership.
Seriously, you're gonna guys bring this?
I have you know I have to tell this story, Joe.
The fact that we almost bought
We almost bought a Dodge Challenger.
2 Dodge Challengers
Right, brand
at a
new.
cost of $68,000 a piece.
So
Not even close.
here's the short version. We are allowed very nicely by the Antioch Dodge dealer to shoot at their location while they were closed. Okay. And we're right next to where the new Challengers are lined up at the time. And we've been hauling the Mummer car around on a trailer because it won't drive.
Well, it'll
Okay?
drive.
The
but,
thing was
you know,
we
It
drove
wasn't
it.
street legal.
We drove it down the
wasn't street
street
legal.
and it was bleeding oil and everything.
We'll get into
like-
that later.
Okay,
but that's
but
because of him. But
regardless-
whatever.
Regardless,
That's because of me.
we're hauling it around on the trailer. Okay. So we have it on the ground, obviously, to shoot the scene, but now we've got to get it back onto the trailer so that we can move on to the next scene that we have to shoot. I mean, we were doing 19-hour days where we're doing like 7-8 scenes in a day. Okay. Because we don't have money.
Oversell this thing.
So we've got to get the car, and he's
a
got
good thing. That's
he's got the ramps that go up onto the trailer, but one of them wasn't hooked on all the way.
Yeah, yeah.
And so as he gets kind of halfway up the trailer, he hits it to give it the oomph it needs to get on,
Oh.
and it spits out the ramp
Yeah. Goes
behind it.
It gets on there though.
It skids across the ground, and it goes underneath a couple cars.
It's skid across the ground at a rapid speed.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I'll yes.
One
it happened.
person jumped over it. I don't know who it was that almost got hit.
Oh, nobody got.
Who else was there?
There was
Jay.
a busload
Mel.
full of kindergartners.
You're making it seem like it was a huge thing. Like,
Hold on.
Oh, it was a
Basket of
huge thing.
kittens.
Mel, somebody jumped out of the way.
Yes.
Thank you. I distinctly, it's like one of those things when something traumatic happens, you like have the memory burned into your brain.
Roll the tape.
And there's no tape. We weren't filming, unfortunately. But man, this trailer skid went right between the wheels of the Challenger and ended up right underneath a brand new
Second one.
Challenger. The second
It went
one.
right under one, went right under the second one.
Yeah.
So I was standing next to the Challenger. It went under, and I remember I did the Jim Carrey. I went woo, like it missed, and I was just like,
You want to talk about my butthole puckered up and out into my mouth, okay? Because as I'm standing there watching this thing skid
There's
across,
nothing you can do about it.
there's nothing you could do. You're just
that's
watching
exactly what my thought was. I'm like, well, there you go.
it. You go. You're
We're gonna see
watching
what's
it
gonna happen.
Go towards these brand new sports cars, and I'm having just
an
like
aneurysm.
these thoughts all racing through my head in the span of 5 seconds.
The best though is after it all was said and done, everyone went, "All right, let's pick it up and go home."
Well, that was me. I was like, all right, guys, it's fine. No big deal. Let's
Yeah.
just keep going.
Yeah.
And like, I'm just trying to like play it
we went to
off, like,
lunch
no
after
big
that.
deal.
Yeah.
And these guys are just, oh my God. And it was like a
Yeah,
talk
it
of
was
the town. And like for like weeks after there's, oh, did you see about this one thing about
Well,
the
yeah, but
trailers?
it was
And
all on the
oh my God.
cameras at Antioch Dodge.
Because I'm sitting there going, okay, as it's happening in my head, I'm like, how many of these can we afford? 0. Crap.
-2, -3.
3.
As Joe's like, all right, let's get this car reloaded. Come on, let's get back
Yeah,
up there.
come
I'm
on,
like,
guys.
No, we're going over here. We'll drive it on the road.
That's right. That's right.
No, and I put it back on the trailer
And it
and
was
everything
fine.
went
You
fine.
did a good
Fine.
job.
Yes.
It's all right.
So then
We wouldn't have bought the whole car. Just maybe replaced a tire or a rim.
The bottom of a car.
the bottom of it.
Whatever that is.
Short. No, it just would have hit a tire.
And then flipped up and cracked the
bottom.
windshield of the thing.
We just purchased the bottom of the
Whatever.
All right, so we get montage number 3 in the movie, which is the car building montage.
The mother effing montage.
And this
that
is
montage sound.
a couple things, and I can't wait to get to the next scene, so I'm going to hit this quick. But there's a wire that we pull out of the front grill
Yeah.
Yes.
and clip it.
Yep.
That wasn't connected to anything.
No, that wasn't it.
We get a screw that we just screw into the workbench.
Into the workbench.
thumbs
and a
up.
thumbs
Gotta
up.
sturdy that up. Yep.
A jack
Gotta work
stand
safe.
and like jack stand underneath.
That doesn't jack.
Never jacks the car up.
No, we got a bunch of spray paint.
Yeah, that worked.
We get
Him
Kurt
washing
sleeping.
the
I was gonna
windshield.
say, then there's Kurt sleeping in the car, like sucking his thumb or something.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Well,
right.
we did get a nice shot of we lift the hood up and we see
Right.
the engine that I was very proud of because I built
Yes.
that engine for the Derby.
Yes.
And a small little Easter egg was Athena was on the
Yes, when you lift the thing. So
Yep.
this, I can't reach it. I don't know if you can reach it, Kurt.
lift Athena up.
But this was our from Clubless, and we put that on top of the engine to make it look really fancy.
It sparkles.
Sparkles.
Sparkle.
That's the one that haunts Patrick to this day. That line you talk
Yeah.
about, free some water.
Yeah.
For Patrick,
It sparkles.
It sparkles.
Yeah.
All right, and so we get the. I'm sorry, I'm like thinking of 3 things at the same time. So we get the final scene where here's the car. They're standing out in front of it, going, "All right, you got the car. It looks, you got the gear, you got everything. I think
Go get 'em,
get him, Tiger." Which is the Spider-Man thing,
Wait
right?
a minute, that was a little.
That was weird.
But we also get a little cameo from your goddaughter, right?
No, actually, that's my niece.
That's your niece,
my
sorry.
goddaughter's older sister.
Got it. And so your niece rides through. I think it looks like a hunk of junk.
I hope you choke on a tassel.
Right, it's a little cameo from some more family members.
Yeah.
And nepotism. Yeah, I love it. And
We have a lot of that in this movie.
yes. So Kurt thinks he's got the car, he's got the gear, he's got everything. He's ready to go become a superhero. And so he tries for the first time. He sees this guy played by Keith Bentel
Oh
pull
man.
into a handicap spot. Oh, a crime has been committed.
Yes,
people.
I
Yep.
have to at least say something.
So he rolls up. Keith did this so well without breaking stride. He gets out of his car. Kurt walks up. The timing was, I think we only did it a couple times. too.
perfect.
Timing's perfect. Kurt walks up. "Excuse me, citizen, but you're parked," and he throat chops you.
Just judo chops my
Yeah.
throat. And I'm down.
And he no sells it and walks off, and you just Yeah.
Perfect. One of my most satisfying moments when I
Yes.
watch the film.
Yeah.
Yes,
How
thank
perfect
you.
that goes.
I appreciate that.
And so the next shot is Kirk crawling back up the stairs of his house going, "We forgot to add fighting to the list."
Yep.
And Joe's doing bills, and he's just like,
Yeah.
Eddie's like, eh.
Yeah.
So we get a brief scene of him calling around to different karate places as if there's like multiple karate places in town.
Antioch.
This
In
really
Antioch.
dates the whole movie because we're still using flip phones.
Flip phones and stuff.
Karate explosion.
Karate Explosion was booked up.
No
Can't
openings.
do that. No openings there.
No.
But
Just imagine how this movie would have taken place after this if we actually went to Karate Explosion.
we do get, as he's calling these karate places, we do get Bob's first cameo in the movie, which is on the front page of a newspaper called the Antioch Ledger that Mel put together.
Well made.
Well made, looked great. And it's got the whole story about purple van rapist or whatever, I don't know what it was called,
Sure.
on the loose or Chicago or whatever. Kurt references it to talk about why he doesn't really pay attention to what's going on in the world. It's really just a way to seed the fact that there's this guy out there that's going to come back into play at some point, right?
Yes.
It's the matchstick in
The matchstick in
Stallone's
Stallone's mouth.
mouth. Yeah.
That's right. So
Well,
he
on
gets
another trope, we're reading something. We're finding out the information through a newspaper.
relevant information from the news.
Yeah.
I did it myself.
Yep.
And I hate that trope.
We do it all the time.
It's so convenient.
It is. So he gets a call back from one of the karate places. Well, it's not really one of the karate places. We don't know what it is yet, but it's a fighting place. He's like, no, we'll take it. We'll take it. We find out that it's actually a self-defense class for women. Okay?
Yes. Cue Nicole.
So, Nicole, before we get into the nuts and bolts of the scene, first of all, I just want to apologize, okay? Because we didn't have a bigger and better part for you in this movie because you were like one of the original OG members. But as I'm writing this, I'm just like, this is such a sausage fest. It is just dudes in this,
Men
other
everywhere.
than, Stephanie's part, basically, right? It's like where I was trying desperately to figure out how to put another woman like in it, but we found this scene that I think was perfectly suited for you. I thought it was hilarious. I just wish you could have done more.
This is one of my favorite scenes as well. It's such a good scene. It's fantastic.
100%.
I could literally watch it over and over
It was a
again.
good time.
One of my favorite, if not the most favorite scene in the movie.
Yeah.
Now why the accent?
I think James asked for it.
That was my idea.
Yeah. And also, why not? It was so much fun.
All right. I loved it.
Yeah, I just remember he asked her, like, can you make a sweet, like, Southern accent?
That's what it was,
And
yeah.
Like a woman that works at Cracker Barrel or something, you know?
Yeah, exactly. We wanted her to be non-threatening,
Yeah.
but be threatening
Like
in
she could
herself,
murder you
not-
and
right.
then cook you a pancake.
Yes, or kill you with a pancake.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my thing with, I always just like to give Nicole goofy things to do,
Thank you.
you know? And so whatever I could
But she
do-
executes them
That's
with
why I
such
like to
class.
do it. That's what
and
I'm
it's
saying.
fantastic.
Like,
Yeah.
we can't just, we got to have you do something really, because in Clubless, we had you playing a pretty straightforward character, right? I mean, when you're in Ingenue, it's like all the character parts are the fun parts, right?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I'm like, if we're going to have Nicole, we got to give her a fun character
Thank you.
thing to do this time
Yeah.
after playing it straight in Clubless. Not that you weren't funny in that, but this is a totally different thing.
Yeah.
And so Nicole plays a Southern former Navy SEAL,
Of course.
Black Ops
Yes.
Yep.
soldier, and her husband, Harold.
That's right.
Not
Which-
Howard.
Yeah, Harold, which is outside right now.
Yes.
We should maybe bring him in just for a quick.
Do you want to bring him in?
Sure.
Yeah, have him come in. So we cut into the scene, and here's Nicole. Did your character have a name?
Howard? Oh, I have.
No.
No, you were Howard. What was your name?
No, self-defense.
Self-defense instructor.
Yeah, I didn't even get a name.
Okay. And what are your memories from shooting the scene?
The room echoed,
It did
Yes.
really bad.
for sure. So,
Yeah.
I
Which
think-
we did our best to get rid of, and it didn't happen.
I also remember we tried like a bunch of moves, and I was like, but I don't know karate or anything reminiscent of karate. So, I mean, I took Taekwondo for like a month
Yes.
as a child. So I just know we did a bunch of different like versions of like,
Yes.
ah,
You were so Black Ops, you created your own martial art.
For
That's
sure.
what that was.
yeah. Yeah.
Nicole Kata.
Yeah.
That's
Nicole
right.
Kata.
Yeah. And
That's
you know,
a movie we need to make.
that's right. So
Because I'm Sicilian partly, like ricotta.
That's a pun.
the setup of the. All right. The setup of the bit is that Nicole
It was a bit cheap.
has this poor husband that she seems to pull around with her, and the purpose of him is to just get his butt kicked by his wife.
Yes.
In
Which Jim played fantastically.
hilarious.
At all.
You looked very thrilled.
Do you remember your line? Do you remember your line?
I don't think I had a line, did
Yeah, you did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you had one of the best lines of the movie.
I? I want to put my sex in you.
That's always even worse.
Same thing. Oh, it's cool. It's still good.
Yes. Well, I just remember when
Give
she
me
says,
your
"All right,
purse."
Howard, come on up," and you're just like, "Okay,
Here we go again.
here we go again."
That line. Who wrote that line?
This is my I did, but this
Yeah.
is like the 500th time as I envisioned it. Like you've done this over and over and over again. Did you have something?
I just the Russian accent. Like,
Why is he?
why is he speaking with a Russian accent?
So I don't. Because I wrote this line as a 90 because something like 99% of communists are either rapists or thieves.
Thieves.
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't write that. I didn't write
No. Yeah.
I don't know what I was thinking when I wrote this scene. I was like, all of it's like a fever
I do
dream to
love
me.
my one add-on, which was when she's like, doing the whole bit, and then I turn and I look at Katie and I go, women.
Like you're in a women's self-defense class. Since we got Katie Harper and Shanna. Is that right? Kiesler? Was that her name at the time?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
And then your
Keisler,
ex-girlfriend Gwen, who was cheating earlier in the movie,
Yes.
is there. And so the first thing is one of my favorite lines of the movie is Nicole goes, "Welcome to my self-defense class for people."
People, not people. It's people.
People. I don't even know. I don't know.
And it's for Kurt's first question is, can I beat her up? And he points and it whip pans over to his
Yeah.
Which is great because I'm in a women's self-defense class.
She's literally taking self-defense classes in fear of you coming back and doing something.
Right.
But you show up at the self-defense class and you want to beat her up.
Yeah.
One of the other very funny things about your character, Nicole, so just to set up what's happening here is she's trying very hard to do this class. She said, "We are guests here at the library," and which is even better that this self-defense class is at the library. And Kurt keeps interrupting her, and you're very, very patient with him up to a point, and you kind of like don't want to ever tell him no. So you're coming up with like all these different things to be like, "That's just such a great idea. We're just gonna." What'd you say?
That is a great idea. We're just going to go ahead and put that up on our idea board. And then you got to wait a long time. There it goes.
There it goes.
And then it cuts to me, and I'm seriously like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah, right. Okay.
I'm all
Over the
happy."
last
I
10
made it
years.
to the idea board.
What's that?
Over the last 10 years, we've said that like
A million
1,000
times.
Oh, really?
Yeah, anytime it's kind of a bad idea, bad ideas get put on the idea board.
Awesome.
It's most of my ideas.
I love that. And so we ultimately, she's like, "All right, I'm going to do my demonstration." And the whole reason we seeded this joke is so that Kurt, the only thing he learned how to do when he would now go and fight crime is punch guys in the dick.
Yeah.
That was the whole joke because he went to this self-defense class, and that's
women.
the only thing you showed them.
'Cause I think he left. Maybe.
Because I think he
I may have
gets-
had more, but
Well, after the dick punch, the choke out, and then
Right.
he was out.
Yeah.
I think he gets thrown out because he elbow drops your husband.
Right.
Right. He says, "I got
Typical comedy.
That's right. And then we cut out of there. But I just want to detail this because I was in tears last night watching this when you're like, "All right, so first you're going to punch him directly in his crotch." I don't remember what you said, okay?
probably not. Yeah, you probably did.
And you kind of left it there for a long time, just fist to groin, and you let it sink in for everybody, okay? Then
Including
her,
Jim.
That was her just asserting her dominance.
Just sinking it right in there.
See, this is why I had your husband come do this, because then you'd be okay with just punching him right in the groin,
We're not
right?
reenacting it.
No.
Just all willy-nilly.
Yeah.
Punches, or then both thumbs directly into his ocular cavities.
Ocular cavities.
Right? And then my favorite line in your scene, and depending on your comfort level with the disabled rapist,
Reach around. Yeah.
pivot around, and you're going to go ahead and put him in a chokehold here, and you're going to either cut off his air supply or crush his trachea.
Yeah.
And we're just going to put him right to...
Right to sleep.
Well, how did you say the... we're going to crush his trachea or cut off his air supply?
They'll have to watch it.
Yeah, you got to watch it.
I actually have
man.
that clip I put on my website.
Did you?
But I keep it because it's hilarious. And
Oh,
I
my
show people.
gosh.
I do like the cut to when she punches him in the nuts, and I am amazed. And I just go,
Right.
awesome!
Right.
Like, I can't wait to do this!
Right, and so when the first time you actually find a purse snatcher, and like the next
I'm
scene,
hyped.
he does exactly what Nicole did. No, puts his hands down, punches him directly in the groin. Except he like donkey punches him.
Yeah, like an overhand,
Like an overhand
fist down
fist.
into it.
But still,
But he
it's
deserved
great.
it.
So I just want to say, because I know you got to run, but
Yep.
thank you for not just being here for this, because I got to tell you, it's an emotional experience for me having everybody practically here in the room minus Bob, which I'm okay with. Just thank you. Thank you for still being part of it. Thank you for still taking my calls so many years later.
Yeah,
That you didn't get so like annoyed that I'm like, oh my gosh, he wants me to do another stupid thing, you know? Because this thing we're doing now is way dumber than anything we've done
Yeah.
previously.
And I love it.
And you're
Thank
still
you for
here.
being our friend.
Thank you for being a friend. I had my Golden Girls cup here, and I reached
did?
for it, and
It's over.
gone.
It was in the other room.
Oh,
Nah,
that's all right.
Yeah.
And Jim,
I brought them to stay here.
thank you too, because you were also in Clubless playing the restaurant manager.
Yeah.
Which, if we ever get the chance, I don't know, maybe on our 200th episode, we'll do Clubless. The other one we'll never do.
No.
But we're gonna have you back for that for sure, because that was an even bigger part. That was an even bigger and better part. I feel like.
Huge asphalt explosion.
That's right. That's right. So thank you guys for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, we're gonna just
Let's
take
give them a big round of applause, guys.
All right, so after the self-defense class, then we get montage number 4
Yes.
in this movie.
Seems like that's early enough. We could have fit in a couple more if we tried.
I think we definitely could. Lean into the microphone when you're talking.
Come on,
I
Clint.
hate this microphone.
Come on.
Just lean.
Just grab the damn
Just talk
thing.
like this.
Yes, that's it. That's
But
all
I
you
don't
gotta-
want to kiss you again.
There you go.
Yes.
Again?
right.
Whoa.
If we look at each other in the eyes, it's going to happen.
I gotcha. Well, look at that shirt.
On purpose this time.
Just let it happen.
So this montage is, we'll call it the crime fighting montage. Before he tried to go start crime fighting.
Yes.
And he couldn't
Yeah.
because he didn't know how to fight. But now, armed
Now-
with the knowledge.
now I am
You could dick
armed
punch
with
anybody
knowledge.
willy-nilly.
he
And
can
they're
do.
willy-nilly.
That's right. Well, the first thing we get is the montage of you trying to fire your grappling hook in the alleyway. And
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
Joe, there is a story behind this scene.
Yes. So, being the guy behind the scenes, kind of making things,
Work.
yeah, being a big part of making things kind of run, smoothly, and providing props and transportation and vehicles and a lot of
We
technical
made
stuff.
Athena here, too,
Yeah,
right?
yep. So, I was given the task to create something that was the grappling hook was supposed to grab onto on the roof and then pull down and then hit Kurt on the head. That was my
Right. Then
task.
instead of being able to climb up, he's just going to pull down whatever's up there.
Exactly. So I go to the hardware store and I'm looking to try to find some stuff, and I find some 8-inch,
Round heating tube.
yeah, exactly. Vent, whatever, galvanized
Tin.
tin,
Yeah.
galvanized tubing. I'm like, okay, all right, this will work because it's not too expensive. And I don't know if you guys know, but nobody paid me money. This budget didn't go to me. Everything came out of my pocket. So everything I did was all out of my pocket.
Yeah. The 2,500
too.
is estimated.
Yeah, exactly.
I bought all the DVDs.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly. So we all had expenses.
Yeah.
So I went with a cheaper one because that was what I was going to do. So I'm like, all right, great. I have this. This is going to be, because I've seen some tubes up on the roof, and I'm thinking that it'll be good enough.
Right.
Oh, was I wrong?
Because I think what
Oh
we had,
my God,
what we had
was I
pictured was
wrong.
like an air conditioning unit.
Yeah.
That was going to come down off the top of the.
Nobody's told me about this
No,
air
We
conditioning
understand
unit.
that was on our.
That would have hurt bad.
Well, right.
This is true.
So I bring this to the scene that we're going to do. Kurt goes like, I don't want this. It's round.
Well, I
It's
said
round.
I said it's supposed to be an air conditioning unit, and you go, well, nobody told me that. And I said, I'm telling you now.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't have time to make an air conditioning unit. And I said, is there anything we can do
Just-
to make it look
just-
like an air conditioning unit?
Just build one.
Just build one. Yeah, that was. Oh my gosh, these guys. So I went back to the hardware store and I tried to find something. I found a universal plenum, which is
yes.
Yeah.
which is the basically. If you have a furnace, you have this big metal box on the top with all your tubes that come out of it. Well, that's a plenum. So I ended up getting that because that was the cheapest other option, but it still ran me like $80, $90.
Yeah.
Plus
Just-
a couple register vents.
Yeah. Well, no, I just put electrical tape
on
Excuse
it
me,
to make it look like a
electrical
vent.
tape on it so it looked like it had louvers.
Right.
And I stood on a ladder, and when he
You
yelled
were so
action,
happy
and
to
I
just throw that at me.
cracked him right on the top.
Whatever
of
the hell a
It
louver
did
is.
come down with a lot of force.
It did. He just
So to give the listeners some context, Kurt walks into an alleyway.
Yeah.
He's got his gigantic grappling gun.
which is the whole scene hilarious.
Right.
By the
And
way.
he's trying to shoot it. Well, the first time it fires accidentally.
Yep.
Into the wall.
Right.
You're like, crap, you got to pick it up, put it back in.
And the sound of it was actually the sound it made.
we didn't add any sound effects.
Yep, that boom was actually the
Ping.
sound that the thing makes.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
Then he shoots it up straight up in the air, so it comes straight back down at him. He's got to get out of the way.
Yep.
Played perfectly by you. The whole
Thank you.
now you're struggling to unwind it.
Yep.
And
Trying
it's like
to get the rope out.
I like how
quick
the
cutting.
rope is also like the width of a shoelace. Like you're gonna climb this wall with this rope that's like it's so thin.
Yes.
Yeah.
finally you just throw it. You throw the grappling gun in the dumpster.
Garbage, yeah.
You hand throw the hook up there, and you pull on this tiny string, like ping, ping, ping. Like, oh yeah, this will hold my weight, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Goes to the whole thing starts coming. We get the Looney Tunes rope
Yes.
spooling on the ground
Yep.
shot.
Yep.
Cut to look up Joe off camera on a ladder.
Slamming
Just
this
slams this thing.
louver thing into my body.
Totally sold it.
And
Yeah.
also not a sound effect added of the louver smashing me in my upper shoulder. Yeah, it was,
We always would make you do this stuff. Remember that one short video we made where we hit you with a car?
yes, that was a good one. I got a
Yeah.
goose egg for about a week from that
Yeah,
one. I hit
so-
my head on a curb.
Usually it was either Kurt or Bob. We need somebody to do something dumb, and we'd be like,
Or Kurt and Bob.
or Kurt
Yeah.
and Bob
Together.
and they would be like, "Oh, you hit me with the car." Or on Fast Zombies with Guns, Bob was like, "I'll fall off the roof."
Oh, yeah.
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 What do you have, a dirty, thin twin mattress? Like, yeah, that's enough to catch me.
We're good. We're
Yeah.
good.
You know,
Judo kicking Bob in the face off
right.
Joe's
My
porch.
gosh.
right? All kinds of that.
That
stuff.
is one of the greatest videos ever.
Yeah.
But that we didn't.
I had a
I do want to
mustache
say we
and
didn't have a ton of arguments on set. That one was an argument about the air conditioning one.
It wasn't really an art.
We had an argument
It was
at
a
the
disagreement.
at the car dealership. We had an argument,
Yeah.
which we kind of skipped over before, where because there was that scene where you guys pull up in the car and we had to do it all in one shot, and so there kept being some lines getting flubbed, and I was already
Well, me and Joe were goofing off.
Yeah.
We were improving
fun.
and having fun.
Right.
And you were definitely under the gun and felt it.
all I
And
was thinking
you're
about is the next
usually-
like 5 scenes we have to shoot.
And you're usually good about like, hey, I don't care, improv, have fun. But that day you were just like, we got a zillion things we got to do today.
Yeah.
I've got a 19-hour day that I'm not looking forward to. Let's get our asses in gear and get
Yeah.
your lines memorized. And I remember the moment was you looked at us and you go, did you guys read the script? Yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. I was like, but we're just laughing. And you're like, I don't think it's funny. And I was like, okay, and it made
it got heated.
it made it harder for
was
me and Joe
awkward.
to even remember our lines now because
Yeah.
now we're like, James is gonna yell at us.
I was like, learn your lines. Go
Yeah.
back and do it again.
Yeah, and then you
Yeah.
fired me for a week for my puns on the show. So I was like, whatever.
Those are completely related.
Yeah, we're gonna get to at the end. At the end, why that
One
happened.
directly fed the other.
That's right. I was still mad about the lines.
Yeah.
That's why he was in punch jail.
James is just a dictator.
That's all it is. That's all it is. So, so after the alley scene, then we get Kurt being a cart narc.
Yes,
right?
Yes, a cart
yeah.
narc.
Where
Yeah,
John doesn't
sure.
put his cart back.
Yeah.
You chase him down in my car.
That's right. Which, quick note, you can see the other Mummerman car that I was building out of my Grand Dam in the background in that
That's
scene.
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
We get the purse snatcher, who is Joe Perini, your buddy,
Yes.
longtime friend.
Yep. And his sister Emily Perini, who he stole the purse from. Yeah.
Now this is another thing I wish I could go back and change, but this is a little thing. The audio mix on her line, you
it was
can't
so hard.
hear
You
what she
can't hear.
says.
No.
It's terrible, and you can't hear it. It's such a funny line. Joe steals the purse. You do that run back and forth in that
Yes,
little walkway.
The cat and mouse game.
Cat and mouse game. You finally get up. You dick punch him. Pay off the joke from Nicole's scene.
Yep.
Right. And then we start another running joke between the cops and everybody was just like, you just don't do that, right?
Yeah, you don't punch a guy in the balls.
You don't
Yeah.
punch
Not
a guy.
cool.
Right.
Not cool.
man.
And so you just help this woman get her purse back, but she's more disgusted that you dick punched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was
This
just
guy.
punch that guy in the dick.
Right, but you can't
And-
hear
and
the
she goes,
line.
Not cool.
Right.
Yeah.
I was so bummed.
That was great.
'Cause
Yeah.
it's a great capper on that scene. You actually also get to punch Keith Bentel in the wiener.
With the again,
The modified grapple gun.
Yeah.
That you apparently took out
Again.
of the dumpster.
well, and we got Deadpool, who
Yeah, I saw
punching
that.
glove launcher.
I saw
Yes.
that years later. He was an action figure of Deadpool was prepackaged with a boxing glove launcher that looked exactly like ours.
And we're like,
Yep.
we did it.
yeah.
That was me.
And he took that boxing glove, and that thing
the
fired with
junk.
some velocity.
It did.
Yeah.
It was not a light little tap.
No.
He
Well,
got
and I remember
nailed.
you had a little nozzle that could make it because you wanted it to fire the grappling hook, which was metal,
Yes.
or you had the one that was the punching glove that was literally just a punching glove filled with foam.
well, no.
So you didn't want to launch the punching glove at the same velocity as you were shooting the grappling hook.
I didn't air it up as much.
Right.
That's the only
But
difference.
You still had either you could full 100%.
No, I understand what you're saying. The little nozzle that was just there like an on-off valve.
Oh, okay.
I just simply didn't air it up as much, and
Gotcha.
it was
I
a
think
real
Keith
punching
felt you
glove.
aired it up enough.
You were pretty close to him.
Yeah,
That
but it was good though. Don't worry, we
Which
still
another
get
fun
along.
story there. You didn't teach me. That was the first time I used the grappling hook.
Yeah.
You
I
didn't
forgot to tell
show
you
me
where the
where
button
the
was.
button was.
So there's a great outtake at the end, right? Where he's just like,
The outtakes they're the best.
they're awesome.
I love
So
the
much fun.
outtakes.
There's one more guy that you bust in this thing, and there's this guy that running up an alley, as we've referenced a few times already, with a full head of hair and everything. Ryan Farrell
Yes.
comes running up to pee in the alley.
Yes.
In the middle of the
Piddler.
day.
The Piddler.
The
yeah.
Piddler.
Love at first sight.
It was that moment I knew.
The shocking
I
thing
wanna
about
have
the
your
scene,
baby.
more than anything, was just
I'm
that
gonna
he
have
had
your
hair.
babies.
Oh my
Yes.
God, so
He had
much
a
of
lot
it.
of hair.
Just
And
flowing
now he
in
has
the wind.
he still has a lot of hair.
It's just not on his head, right?
It's everywhere else. In case you were wondering.
No, I
was.
wasn't, but thank you.
Well, and the fun story there is I've known, my brother Sean, who's in the movie, was friends with Ryan in high school.
Right, I barely knew him at the time.
So those,
Wait.
I used to talk.
Shocker. Your brother Sean has friends?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So,
Just one, Ryan.
yeah. And
just roasting Sean through this whole episode. Sorry. Does he listen to the show?
no,
Good.
Oh, geez.
Of course not.
my family stays away from it. They do like our TikTok and the
That's good.
Facebook episodes.
That's good.
Okay.
But no, yeah. So anyway, so I knew Ryan since he was like 13, 14. And he would talk movies all the time. And even then, he was, what do you call him?
The human movie database.
Yes.
Yep.
He was like that at 13.
That's amazing.
And I would be like, I can't talk to you for this long. I need
Just
to,
imagine it now.
I'm trying to.
Oh
and
my
I,
gosh.
I live with him.
You live with it.
I don't have to imagine it. I just had a half-hour argument with him about a rubber tire last week.
Yes.
Okay. So I
about
know.
how cinematically it was actually a masterpiece.
Yes. No
Can I ask you
imagination
something?
needed. Yeah.
After you had that conversation with him, was it tiring?
Do it. Red button.
It was appropriate. Look, no book.
So after he ties up or tapes up Ryan to a pole.
No, it was what
was it?
It was a toe strap.
A toe strap.
it was a toe
I
strap.
tied him with a toe strap.
strap.
to the
That's what I
side.
had in my truck at the time.
Yeah.
And you get the big trailer moment, right? Tell your grandmother that there's a new hero.
in town. Yeah.
That's right. And because he just like tell your friends. Like, I don't have any friends.
Yeah, I just moved here. I don't have any friends, and I'm like, So what I love about that joke is the fact that like I go from superhero to, oh bummer. Like I actually
Like
feel for
empathetic.
him, like,
yeah, you're like, oh, dude, I'm sorry to.
well, like,
yeah.
well,
But you're
who
still a
can you
bad
tell?
doer.
I live with my grandma.
That's right.
Tell your grandmother that there's a new hero in
Yeah,
town.
that's
I
right.
go back to the voice.
Control your bladder.
Yeah.
Control you.
Knock it off with the nobody tinkles in my town.
And then we get our first cut to police headquarters
Yes. Insert James Hauser,
as the chief of
And
police.
Mel
Vandy.
Vandy.
I've always wanted. I remember, in a lot of the other movies and stuff we did, we kind of all would have kind of equal parts. But this one, I didn't want to put myself in the movie at all because I just wanted to focus on directing and
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
But then there's an opportunity to be a police chief in a movie, which I love the tropey scenes with police. And we've talked about it a ton on these shows.
Sure.
I'm like, it's like 3 scenes.
Yeah.
And it was all pretty
That's
easy.
okay, though.
And I got to do it with my guy over here, Mel Vandy, who was Jenkins, Sergeant
Yes.
Jenkins.
Sergeant Jenkins.
Which I'll just address it ahead of time here.
Yeah.
You saw my stage name there.
Yeah.
I was going by Jay for the film because I didn't really want to associate work and the movie.
Sure, right. Makes sense.
I made sure that I had to use a fake name. I was being
So in
clever.
case you're wondering why his name is different in the movie.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, so Mel is in there. He's Jenkins. Mel, for somebody that had never acted before,
No.
knocked it out of the park.
Absolutely.
I was gonna say,
I didn't know you were
gonna
never
go the
He
other
was
way.
acting. I've known this guy a while. We've spent a lot of time together. There was zero acting done by Jay.
especially during
Zero
the mace
acting
scene.
done by Mel in that movie.
So we come in, and it didn't pick up on camera, but I tried to make myself look older. So I had gray through my hair, which doesn't show up at all, but
Oh,
my
it showed.
mustache still looks gray. Okay. And Andrea comes in the door, and Andrea is another coworker. So me
Yet
and
another
She worked
coworker.
with you
me
and
and Patrick,
right?
we were the three bankers in the branch. So it was
Yes.
me and Patrick and Andrea.
Which she has a great sense of humor.
She's hilarious.
Yes,
I didn't give her much to do
absolutely.
because it was like I was running out of parts to give people.
Yeah.
But she's hilarious. She comes in. She's like, Jenkins is here to see you. I tell her to use the speakerphone.
Use the speakerphone.
And, so Jenkins comes in, and Jay, you got your little badge around your neck, the whole thing. You did all of
Mel's
that on
got
your
a
own. Mel comes in. He's got the badge around his neck and everything, which you did on your own. Was awesome, man. Thank you. And
I just had the stuff laying around the house.
he goes, the premise of the joke between me and Jenkins is that we make the assumption that there's some woman running around in red tights, dick punching civilians.
Yeah.
Because we just
have to be a woman, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Guys wouldn't do that, right?
Not cool.
It's not cool.
It's not
Right.
cool. You just don't do it. So that's why I keep having to be corrected by Jenkins.
It's not a woman.
Not a woman.
It's a man, sir.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And even when the first time you come in, I'm like, so you are a man, like the first thing
And I'm
you say.
like, yeah.
I love the line is you were like, that's so weird.
So weird.
So
Yeah.
weird.
I
Well,
say
here's-
that a lot. That's actually one of the quotes that I took from the movie.
Yeah.
I
really?
use often. Yeah.
So weird.
So major trope that we had to put in here. There's got to be the scene where the captain gets up and talks through the blinds and looks out
Yes.
the window and talks about his career and all. Like it's in every cop movie ever, right? I'll tell you, this town's falling to pieces, Jenkins.
One of my favorite parts of the whole movie.
I loved you looking into the picture
yeah,
of your
my father
Oh
was.
my
and
gosh.
it's a
I don't
picture
know.
of
that
you.
you look so much like your father right
trope.
now.
So that wasn't scripted. Thought of that the night before we had to shoot the scene, and I was like, "How fast can I get a Walgreens to print out this picture of me?"
Yes.
I put the costume on. I took it the day before, got it printed out, put it in a frame, and stuck it in the scene.
Yes.
That's right. To the younger listeners here,
Yeah.
you used to have to go get photo type things
Yeah,
printed
well,
someplace else. You
yeah.
couldn't do that at home.
No, you couldn't. Right? I could have busted it out, no problem.
Who could
now,
afford a
right?
laser
One of
printer
my
back
favorites. Can I share a small story with
Yeah,
this?
sure.
So one of my favorites was when you finally did the commissioner, right? You got the outfit.
Yeah.
And I remember you were like, Kurt, just so you know, I'm banking. I can't keep this mustache forever.
Yeah.
So
Oh
we have to do our, like, my stuff has to be
Yeah.
done within like 2 days.
Well, you saw in a lot of the outtakes where I would kind of come into frame. I had this giant
Whole
goatee.
beard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? And I
Yeah.
hadn't worn a goatee in forever, and I used to all the time, and so it was weird to see. But I kept that up until the absolute time I was going to shoot the scene.
Right.
Cut it to the mustache. I didn't want to have one, and then got rid of it immediately.
So you call me.
Yeah.
It's nighttime.
Yeah.
This is before we're going to shoot the next day, and you're like, I got to show you something. Come over to my house. I'm like, all right. I come walking
This
in.
game again, James.
I come walking in. Dana answers the door for me.
Yeah.
And I walk in. I was like, oh, hi, you know,
Hey, Dana.
shooting stuff, shooting the breeze. So we go walking down into the, because your living room is down in the basement at
Right.
that time.
Yep.
Right.
It was a tri-level. So I go down to the lower level, and there you are.
Yeah.
Full suit, mustache, the gray hair, and I laughed instantly. I was
Yeah.
like, this is going to be the best shooting day. I'm going to have so much fun with this. And it was great.
It was ridiculous,
Yeah, it
dude.
was so much fun.
And I was trying to do, so I typed out this little line. This is from Naked Gun. What I was trying to do, and the whole reason I put that story about the flasher. So the chief starts telling the story about, I came here to get away from the crazies and the crackheads and all that stuff. He's like, it was so bad out there. We came out of my office, and there used to be this guy who would just show us his penis.
Yeah.
Used to play it like a
And he
guitar.
used to play it, and he's kind of like
thought it was
wistfully,
hilarious.
like staring into the distance. Sometimes he played it like a guitar, and the whole thing I was trying to do like a Leslie Nielsen thing,
Yeah.
right? Because he's got this great. So this is from Naked Gun. He's telling this story about his ex-girlfriend, right? And he said, I'd known her for years. We used to go to all the police functions together. Oh, how I loved her. But she had her music. I think she had her music. I mean, she'd hang out with the Chicago Male Chorus and Symphony. I don't recall her playing an instrument or even being able to carry a tune, yet she was on the road 300 days out of the year. In fact, I bought her a harp for Christmas. She asked me what it was. And so I was trying to channel that.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
For like sometimes he played it like a guitar, like almost like that kind of whole thing. So that was a tribute to Leslie Nielsen with that whole thing. But yeah, it was a fun scene to get to play with Jay the couple times that we got to it was a fun scene to get to play with Mel the couple times that we got to do it. It was awesome.
No, it was
I
fun.
know I'm confusing myself. The whole stage name thing really ruined it for,
I know.
It's hard. It's hard.
I got used to one and now I got to get used to the other. So ultimately, we cut back to the bar now, okay? And I tell Jenkins, I go out and find this guy. We can't have him just running around, right?
Yeah.
Or find this woman.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now we cut to the bar where you guys are celebrating your first successful day of crime fighting.
Yes.
I got a purse snatcher. I got a two handicap partners.
9 vicious criminals given their comeuppance.
You love that line.
Yeah, that is the one line that I'll never say again in my
That
life.
was a slight argument as well, because I remember at the bar you were like, "Do I got to say this?" And James was like, "No, you have to say
right.
it.
What- why
It's a
even mean
fantastic word." Yeah.
And this was
Comeuppance.
This was my first day.
Comeuppance. This was your first day.
This was my first day.
So you come over, you're like, "What do you guys celebrate?" And you don't want to let out that
No.
your secret identity, even though your name is your name.
Yeah. Well, no one knew my name though through the whole movie. Only me and Eddie knew that I was the Mummerman. Until
Yeah, you
I
were just a
told
woman in
you.
red
That
tux.
was the first time you
That's
knew.
true.
Dick
Yeah.
punching people.
Mummerman?
Mummerman.
Mr. Mummerman?
Mr. Mummerman.
But anyway, yeah.
So you say we're having I got a promotion. That's
Yes.
the cover.
And I'm like, yes, promotion. That's
Yes,
right.
it is. So in comes Daryl Villacorta.
Oh my gosh, I love Daryl.
I love Daryl. Daryl was an actor we found.
Daryl was fantastic.
Like a legit
great.
actor, and he comes in and he's playing your ex-boyfriend, right?
Yep.
Jake.
Psycho ex-boyfriend
Jake. Thank you.
from State Farm.
From State. It's Jake from State Farm.
I had a whole backstory written about the two of you, and then I'd never included any of it. So I was gonna have you guys get into a bunch of stuff, and it ended up just kind of being like, what are you doing? I told you never to come here again.
Yeah, that. I'm just thinking back on that day and so many regrets in my acting and.
Oh no!
It's terrible.
No.
But little things you notice. But yet, no, it was good. It was still fun.
Yeah, and so Daryl is this. The whole point of this scene is to show that Kurt, for the first time now, with the help of the
confidence.
Mummerman, has some
Yeah.
confidence and he's able to stand up for as himself, not in the mask.
Exactly.
Correct.
Right. And so he Roger Rabbits this guy.
Yes.
Just kicks his legs out.
Kicks the leg
face
out.
on the bar.
And that would hurt really
the whole
bad.
thing, that was fantastic.
He
Legitimately,
played that
the
one great.
the back through, that was really well done.
He
Yeah.
played that one
was-
really well.
He actually got hurt from
Well,
that.
Perfect.
Yeah. Well, he got hurt. He
got hurt a
got even
couple
worse.
times.
We're going to talk about that.
We'll get into that one.
And
gotta-
surprisingly, not
We're
from
still
Bob.
talking to the lawyers.
Yeah, not for Bob. That was weird.
No, Bob doesn't know how to pull his punches. Anybody that's done a fight scene in a movie with him,
And
Kurt,
I'm lucky enough to do 3. How?
That's true.
yeah,
Yeah, he headbutted me twice, hit me with the toilet seat once,
I love it.
punched me in the face a few times.
Is a timeout. Do you know if the door downstairs is unlocked? I'm sure we didn't lock it after they left.
It was unlocked, but the lady was downstairs. Older lady was doing something cleaning.
Can we just make sure? Because when Bob shows up, my phone is there. He's not gonna be able to get a hold of me. Just want to make sure the door is unlocked so he can just come in.
Is there a time he's supposed to be?
Are we going to talk about?
It's soonish.
I hate to just bring it up because
No, we got a break now anyway.
I thought we were going to mention it, but you kind of skated over it. Are we going to talk about the Daryl face?
We're not there yet.
I know, but I meant because
He wants to make sure that it's okay we talk
okay,
about
we
it.
talk about it because
Oh,
that
yeah.
was a whole joke. But the whole lawyers, we're still talking to lawyers
we
about
can
it.
talk about it.
And you're like,
good God, he's not
and
going to
you were
sue us
talking about
20
Bob.
years later.
Yeah.
No.
Well, we talked about Bob because
He's
it
been in
came
good
up.
spirit about it.
Because it came up about him. No, we're believe me, that's one of the
Okay.
best stories of what happened.
Okay, great.
Daryl loves us.
Set.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about all that. All right, so we'll just keep going because Mel can just come in while we're doing this. All right, so after Daryl gets throat chopped on by the bar and runs out of there,
Yeah.
you hug Kurt over the bar. That looked really comfortable.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're drinking for free tonight.
That's right.
Yes, again.
Man, you are not a good bartender.
I can't imagine hugging patrons over the bar on a regular basis.
Also, you overserve him every chance you get.
Every time he's there.
It's almost like you have a thing for him
I'm
in
just
the movie.
trying to get him drunk.
Constantly.
How you do it?
Yeah.
Didn't realize that until
I heard you're the Mummerman.
She's got a
Prove
Spider-Man
it.
fetish.
Skin tight suit fetish.
That's right.
Skin tight suit man.
Here's another mistake I made. No establishing shots to establish that it's now we're closed, we're locking up, nothing. It just smash cuts to her outside locking the door.
Yeah.
Could have had easily been like all right, guys, time to go. See you later, whatever.
Yep.
A couple people filing out, then you lock up like a normal movie. But no, I'm like, forget all that.
Screw that
nonsense.
shoe leather.
We don't
We're going
need
right
that.
to it.
We're going straight.
Just go out the back.
Where is she? Why is she out here?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. She's
Maybe she's having a smoke. I don't
supposed
know.
to be.
Who's
She's
waiting in
locking
the
up
wings?
for the night.
Yeah.
And she comes outside, and Jake, that bastard.
Jake
Waiting for
the
me.
bastard.
I mean, his character was genuinely I mean,
Yeah.
He did a
He
good
did
job.
such a good job. It was really fun to act with him.
Yeah.
He was
An actor.
genuinely
he was an actor.
He was genuinely great at
Yeah.
what he was doing.
Yes. And when you get something from somebody, you can give something back. Like it's all about, that's how it works.
Yeah, you can feed off of it.
And yeah, so he's there. He's like, I tried calling you, right? I showed up at your house, whatever.
Every word he said got crazier as his
And I'm
whole
just-
monologue just got nuts. Every word.
And I have nowhere to go because I'm just getting backed up into the door.
Yeah.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, honestly, it could have been a really bad situation.
I noticed he said he didn't text you though, because that was hard to do in 2008. You had to type each letter 3 times.
Yes.
You would have been like,
T9
I didn't
texting.
text you, not because I couldn't, but just it sucks. I hate doing it.
It
Takes a lot of time out of my
too
day.
long.
Remember when
And
you had
now-
to text with the numbers? Oh,
Now
was
it's
a- I
super
was a
easy.
pro.
It's barely an inconvenience.
Yeah.
Hey, screen
Barely.
guy.
I remember I did a speech in
Wow.
my communications class in college
Yes.
on the Mummerman.
I forgot about
did?
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
You gave me the scene. Did I? so
I have no memory of it then.
So you gave me that scene with Daryl outside of the bar.
Awesome.
And because you weren't done editing the film yet.
Oh.
But I can't remember what the premise was for like what the speech was supposed to be about, like something that impacted your life or something like that. So I did it on the
you picked
Mummerman.
this movie,
And I
you
picked this
meeting
movie
Ryan.
Yes.
because I had such a good time with
She
you guys.
didn't get out much.
Yeah, that's the only thing I did.
This is
like
the
that.
apex of her youth.
The whole 5 years. Yeah, that's all I did. I didn't even leave the house. But I did.
Her parents left her in a little
Yeah.
dog crate.
I was
when she
usually chained up in the basement, so this was the only way I got out of the house.
Your best friend was the pipe in the crawl space.
I was like, this is amazing.
Are you friend pipe? It's friend pipe. Hi, Pipey.
Hi, Pipey.
You're hot.
Are you sure you didn't bring this to your therapist to kind of explain?
I mean,
Are you sure you shouldn't?
I'll think about it. But no, it was really great, and I got to show that scene, and
Yeah.
the reviews I had on that speech were like, "This was the best speech we've ever heard." Like it was really
Thank you.
awesome.
All right.
You're welcome.
All right. Fantastic.
There you go. Give yourself a hit
Yeah,
the
we'll
ball-
get you-
applause
there you
button.
go.
That's for you. That's for you, James.
Oh, I thought it was
wrote
for
it.
Stephanie.
Well, yes, but you guys can share it. But
Well, the best thing that happened on
You didn't bring me a
this
gift
night
or anything. No, you just-
was something that was unscripted, which is as Daryl, we were trying to set up a homage to Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
the way that we got into it was much less capable than Spider-Man is, right?
Sure, it's- it's
Spider-Man's hyper capable.
comedic, right.
Kurt as the Mummerman is not, right? And so it goes from 1 second, a very heroic moment to
I'm a bumbling
you're
idiot.
a totally bumbling idiot.
Yeah.
So here's Daryl backing you down into the back door, basically, and the music kicks on, and and we'll talk in a second about how we did this,
Yeah.
because I can't to this day believe we pulled this off.
Yeah.
But Kurt swings out of nowhere from outside the frame, takes out Daryl. The fight scene happens off camera. You just hear the whoosh, whoosh, whoosh,
Yep.
right? And then it cuts, and you see him just over his lifeless body.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And he tries to scamper away because he doesn't want to be seen, right?
Yeah.
It's like the Phantom or
try to-
something.
yeah.
But he goes
try
like,
to
but he goes
propel
up
my
though,
way up.
not just but he goes up out
he's,
of frame.
He's on this like wooden staircase that kind of goes back and forth up, right?
Yeah.
And there's
Which we
these-
thought was built well.
we thought it was built. It was new. It was newish.
Yeah.
And there are these slats on the railings, right?
Yeah.
And so he's supposed to scamper up and out of frame like he's Batman,
kinda,
or Spider-Man or Batman, whatever.
Sure.
Just getting away before you could even catch a glimpse of him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so
And I
Stephanie,
did well.
You did a good.
Yeah. But
Stephanie
Daryl-
comes over.
Yep.
Like trying to take a step towards you. You whip your head around. You're like, nope. And you try to scamper up.
Yep. And then Daryl's leaning. He's laying back
He's
on the
on the
stairs.
stairs.
Laying
Yeah.
with his back on the stairs.
Kurt, the slats.
up.
He's grabbing the slats to climb up. He's a good 6-7 feet above Daryl at this point. The slats break because he's putting his weight on him.
Yep.
And he falls all the way back, foot directly on Daryl's head.
Just smushed him.
Just absolute face stomps this guy.
His entire weight from 6 feet up directly onto his face.
Yeah.
Well, not 100% of it though
bad.
either.
But a lot.
Not a lot of it, but not 100% of it because thankfully we had the harness on.
Yes.
So
That
yeah,
still
so
was
this
on
whole
a
scene,
counterweight.
this whole
So-
scene about you swinging in. This was all brought to you by myself and another good friend of mine,
Mike Quinn.
Mike. Yeah, that we had our old rock climbing equipment. So we had ropes and rock climbing.
He's like on
gear.
the fire escape of another building.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah, belaying,
Belaying the rope.
Yeah.
what call it? So we
Which I'm heavier than Mike.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. So we had this whole thing rigged up into all these wooden staircases
guys
in
were
the
like,
back.
This'll do.
This'll do. Yeah, this'll be fine.
This'll be
Everything
fine.
held,
Everything
except
held.
for the when Kurt went to go pull on the slat.
Well, what happened was
I
the
remember
slats no one knew
hearing
were
it,
going to
too.
give. So what had happened was the counterweight for Mike was too much. So
Yep.
it literally pulled him off
Yep, pull him off the ground.
the ground because my weight is heavier than Mike's. So all of a sudden it was just like, "Eh," and Mike's
Yep.
like, oh no, and he's trying to put the brakes on.
Yep.
And that's when, thankfully it wasn't 100% of my weight on
Yeah.
Daryl's
But
face.
I heard
It
the
still was
contact,
like-
though.
Yeah.
You were looking right at it, right?
Yeah,
So you
I
gotta-
heard the contact of that, and I was like,
he's done.
oh no.
I remember it's burned into my brain.
My
It
first
is.
day of
Same here.
filming with you guys.
Same here.
It was.
His look on his face
I remember
afterwards.
his face.
That's right.
the
Kurt
foot,
killed the guy.
everything. And immediately I'm like,
We're dead.
We're done. He's going to
Yep.
sue us. He legitimately injured himself. We're going to have to pay medical bills, whatever.
Yeah.
This is not a friend of ours. We hired this guy as an actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the few. Most of the film was populated with our friends and
Yeah.
things. People that had done acting in some cases,
Sure.
but not professionals. And he couldn't have been cooler about it.
He was so cool.
He didn't need to be, and he was super cool about the whole thing.
And still one of my friends today. I talked to him.
Yeah,
on
we're
Facebook
still
and
on there
everything.
with him. He just had a baby, I think. He just had a first birthday.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just turned one.
So
Kid's face is messed up though.
I don't know. He'll probably.
That's how hard Kurt stomped
Why
on
did this
him.
baby come out with a shoe print on his face?
Mummer stamped.
Oh my gosh. So it ends up being able to. We put in the sound effects
the
of him
kid's cute.
Skips a generation.
as he's scampering up to get away. When we cut it, we're able to then put in the sound effects of him getting tangled up in the ropes and breaking stuff, and so he ends up coming down, which worked perfectly.
It worked out
Yes.
beautifully.
in frame, all tangled up in the ropes,
Yep.
hanging upside down like Spider-Man, but not on purpose.
Correct.
He's
Yeah.
literally just stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then we got to do
The Spider-Man
now,
scene.
now you know how Kirsten Dunst felt kissing Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It was magical.
It was a bit.
Yeah.
Thank you, Steph.
Jackpot.
Jackpot. Oh my God.
only
that
two
got a
couples
laugh.
ever
No.
had ever done that.
It's so funny too because actually, since I showed that scene for that speech, one of the very first things that one of the kids said in class was, "You're a good kisser."
Oh,
I
that's
was
not
like-
weird at all.
I was like, "That's what you got out of."
Yeah, that's what you got.
Okay.
Is your name on the registry?
I was just standing there like, okay,
I mean, he's not lying.
hey,
Wow.
jackpot.
Jackpot.
Well,
I'm uncomfortable.
yeah, I know.
This is why when I said I'm picking
His
out
first
somebody to
wife
play
was-
Stephanie, Kurt's like, can I see her first?
Wait, she's 19.
Well, I found out that day.
You said teens, right?
Yeah.
I remember
Don't worry,
I was like, and because we never discussed it, and it was a situation where we were just getting ready to go on scene, and you were like, I was like, how old are you? And you were like 19. And I was like, oh.
Don't worry.
And I
Hey,
was
guys,
like,
guys,
okay.
guys, guys, don't worry. At the end of the day, his marriage was just fine.
Yes. Yes.
That marriage survived and totally is fine.
Yes. That's true.
That was your first wife.
Was.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right. Yeah. Okay, so which we'll get to in a little bit. Because she's in the movie.
Yeah.
So at this point, the next scene is now Jenkins is on the hunt for Sergeant Jenkins is on the hunt for Mummerman, and so Mummerman's on the roof of JJ Blinkers, that store that we talked about before.
They let us use the whole building.
And so the way that we're able to draw Mummerman out is by jaywalking across the middle of Main Street in Antioch. And so he, from his perch up above JJ Blinkers, sees Jenkins, who doesn't know is a cop because you're in plain clothes.
You look like a cop.
You do still look like a cop.
Stop.
I don't.
Yeah.
So Kurt jumps off the building, and the way that we were able to do that, do you remember how we did this?
Yes. So we jumped from one roof to the next roof on
Which there was a roof not very much lower.
right. And then I
The
was
firehouse.
Yes, at the firehouse. And then we were able to jump from one roof to the other, and you intersync that with me jumping off that roof.
So it was low enough where your
Two
whole
different buildings.
It was two different buildings, but it was low enough where you could jump off of the first one and your whole body would disappear.
Sure.
But not so far that you couldn't land safely.
Right.
And then we just intercut. We put you literally on a ladder in the sidewalk.
Yes.
And you jumped into the top of the frame.
Correct.
And it
And it
cut
worked out
together
well.
perfectly.
Yeah,
It
it
looks
looked
like you
great.
jump off the entire dang building.
Yeah, and I land.
And a special thanks to the Antioch Fire Department. Some
Oh,
of
yeah.
my friends over there allowed us to film
For sure.
in the station and
Absolutely.
stuff. I mean,
It was awesome.
they helped us out huge. So
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
just
absolutely.
knowing guys on the fire department comes in handy sometimes.
Yeah.
Who's that girl you steal a shoe from to get to throw it at Sergeant
So
Jenkins?
she was the manager of my building that I lived in, where Eddie and I lived.
Okay.
She was the.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
landlord?
she was the building manager.
I love it.
Yeah.
Takes her shoe, hits Jenkins with it. He turns around. He's like, I got him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cut back.
Super creepy smile. Just
that was
saying.
well done.
He's like,
Great job. Great job,
Not
Mel.
acting.
Not acting.
So we cut back to the police station, and we haul him in, and he's like, I got him, sir. The dick puncher.
Why didn't you know how to use a computer? What was that all about? What was was that a
tapping
cliche thing?
I
I'm like,
just
was
wanted
that?
him to be stupid.
You're like, computers.
There was like I don't even think that was scripted. I think I'm sitting there and they just start banging the monitor. I'm like, what the hell's the matter with this thing?
Yeah. And it never turns on, which is fantastic.
And then Madeline's on there watching this movie. It's like, just turn it off and back on again.
Exactly. Hauls him in. He comes in, and this is the scenes I got to do my favorite, which we're sitting across from each other, and I'm like, so you are a man, right?
Yeah.
We have this whole
yes.
conversation, and it kind of shows
A
that,
bunch of my favorite lines from that.
that the
scene.
chief is trying to be the movie cop, badass movie cop, but he can't quite pull it off, right?
Yeah.
So he tries to do cool one-liners, but he keeps tripping up on them.
Yeah.
You know what I
Well,
mean?
You do the whole like, so I'm going to bury you with I'm going to take a shovel and I'm going to cover you in dirt. And what I'm trying to say is basically I'm going to bury you.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, and then I go, I didn't realize where you were going with
Which
that.
is
I got it out.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
you were like, what? Oh.
Oh, yeah.
You can't just go around willy-nilly punching guys in their
willy-nilly.
willy-nilly.
I use that line all the time. It's fantastic. Love that line.
But the two best parts of the scene both involve Mel over here,
Yeah.
because what happens is I'm like, arrest him, take him away. And he's like, I don't think I've broken any laws. And Mel goes, he's right, sir. Damn it.
Yeah. Damn it.
And then the next one, I'm like, what's with the tights? Or no, you say to him, what's with the tights, right? And he's like,
I'm like a superhero.
and Mel, your reaction, dude, is I don't think that was scripted. It was just
No.
me and you just laughing at him. And you're like, I'm a superhero. God, I look like a dick.
Look at me. I look like a dick. Again, this is just my normal.
Yeah.
And it's my favorite line in the entire movie.
You look like a
I'd
jerk.
laugh. All right, yeah, frick this guy.
Yeah. It was hard to keep a straight face during that.
Oh,
There was a
yeah.
couple of times where I was thankful for the mask sort of overhanging my mouth.
Yes.
To be able to just kind of smirk without showing that I'm smirking.
Speaking of smirking, in the next, so he hauls him out of the office, Sergeant Jenkins, and then
in the hallway.
thinks that Mummerman is going to steal his job somehow.
I'm the one that caught the. I'm the one that caught him with the.
I'm the one wearing
with
this
the tie. I earned this tie.
That's a nice tie.
How 12 years as a CSO helping kids get on the school bus.
Yeah.
That was not a dig at anybody.
No,
At all.
Not the one guy that.
By the way,
good.
why your office was a conference room?
Yeah,
It's because that's what I had at the time.
Like you didn't even have your own office. It was just
he just walks into the
You're in the corner of the
Realize
conference
the
room.
dick.
It's hilarious,
What a
guys.
dick.
Yeah.
Oh, dick.
You're
Trace.
buddy. Yeah.
I confer in here.
So the big thing is Kirk gets he's able to swipe somehow a scanner from the police department.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so grabs a radio.
Grabs a radio,
That's
gets
not-
back into the
that's
car,
not
and they're
illegal.
like, now we can know where crimes are happening.
Yeah.
And so
Jackpot, yeah.
jackpot. And so they drive around waiting for a crime to happen.
Yes.
For 12 hours.
And all before they did it in not Expendables. What's the Disney Incredibles?
Did they do that same
Incredibles, yeah.
thing?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
So there
because
you go.
remember him and Frozone
Frozone,
are
that's right.
waiting for some action to happen.
That's right. They drive around, and Joe's got that great line where you're like, I think you're the first superhero to pick a crimeless town to defend.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
You're driving around.
no town is crimeless.
That's right. That's right. And Jay, you had supplied us with some CB chatter
Mel.
that is, fuck.
Sorry. About
Sorry.
That's all right. Mel, you supplied us with some CB chatter that was accurate to where we were. They're
Yes.
talking about Main Street and Lake and all this stuff that's the actual streets that we were on.
Yeah.
I actually had a couple officers and a dispatcher record those for us.
That's amazing.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Because no one except people from Aniak are going to get it. It'll just sound like random radio chatter.
Sure.
But those were legit streets and things that were happening.
Yeah, no, and it was great. I mean, the amount of help that we got outside of just from the township.
Well, go ahead.
So this is going to be the scene. The scene that it probably is going to be the most important scene of this entire movie is
as far as from what went into it, yeah.
what went into it. Absolutely. I'm just setting it up for you guys, but I just want to say that I'm looking back at it, watching it. I'm still amazed we were able to pull this off.
Yeah.
Just being a couple schmucks from Antioch.
Yeah, so
What we were able to do was amazing.
what we had to do is film this car chase. So as the scanner finally goes off after 12 hours and these guys had just robbed a jewelry store, we'll go through it, but this is basically what happens. And so Mummerman says, let's do this, right? We're going to chase after these guys because they just passed them. I'm like, that's
The
them.
music swells. We
Yep.
start
Yeah.
chasing them down. Yeah.
And so in order to do a car chase, I didn't know. I thought we were going to have to go somewhere in the back roads and just kind of steal a car chase, like shoot where we're not supposed to, whatever.
Yeah.
But Mel actually went through and drew up a whole plan, got in front of the board, the village board, where the mayor is there. I went with you.
Yep.
And we had to give a presentation in front of the board as to what we wanted to do, what roads we wanted to close, and from when. And they approved it all.
Downtown Antioch.
We shut it down, closed the roads to film this scene.
Right.
Yes.
From like 1 a.m.
Yeah, 2
It was
a.m.
like
to 5.
I think we had 5 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it was like 1 to 6, but by 5 the sun's coming up, right? So it was like we didn't really have 6 or 5 hours.
Then about 4.
Oh, and then the fun part of that,
Well, so what you don't know is that we had off-duty cops
off-duty cops and firemen.
and firemen manning the roadblocks.
Right.
See, that's what I'm talking about. These guys hooked us up and helped us out.
It
They were
was
awesome.
amazing.
That's amazing.
Okay. And so they're all in off-duty clothes, standing at these roadblocks so people don't pull out. But the nearest cross street, figure we had a straight stretch of road, and about halfway through, maybe a little less than halfway through, there's an inlet road that comes in where there's a bar right there.
Yeah.
Called the Limerick.
No,
Yeah.
go Limerick.
And what had happened is somebody pulled out of Limerick because it's 1 a.m. and it's a weekend because we shot on weekends.
Yep.
And he pulled out and he comes to this roadblock and decides he doesn't want to
That's not
find
good enough for me.
another way to go. So he drives around the roadblock, even though there's cops and firemen there telling him to stop.
Yep.
Yep.
Right.
Goes through that. One of the other cops comes from the other roadblock and kicks the front
No,
of his grill.
it was one of the
Was it one
firemen.
of the firemen?
Yes.
Okay.
This guy tries to run down a fireman, so he like ninja kicks the front of his car.
He Sparta kicks like from 300 directly
Yes.
into the grill of
Yes.
his car.
This Ford Fairmont.
and he goes, get out of
with a 5-liter swap.
Yeah.
I know the car specifically.
Yeah.
He's like, get out of the freaking car. And it's like, a whole thing happened. We're in the middle of shooting.
Yeah.
Got
Okay.
a DUI stop in the middle of the set.
And they don't move it off the street. So they got the cherries running on this cop car. They're DUIing the guy. And so for an hour of this time, we couldn't use half of the street.
Nope.
We had to film everything down at the other end. And we couldn't aim the camera back the other way.
Nope.
Because there's cop lights like just spinning.
Here's my favorite part of this story.
Yeah.
I'm in the car and I pull the car and two of the police officers go, don't move. Because they're basically like, we're going to nab this guy.
Right.
So there's this whole like where Eddie and I are sitting in the car.
Yeah.
Waiting. We're not allowed to get out. And so I look across and see through Eddie. Eddie's leaning back, Joe.
Me.
And I look through and I can literally see the driver of the car. And he turns and looks at me. I'm in the full garb. And he's like, he looks and he's like,
He's already drunk.
yeah. And he is like, he doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And he's like, and you can just see the confusion in his face.
Yeah.
And here's a firefighter with his foot just through the hood of the car.
Yeah.
I told you to stop.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're busted, dude.
Yeah.
Like I am like a part of this right now. Like I am being a real superhero. This is fantastic.
All he
let
had
me-
to do was go the other way.
Yeah.
He
And
drove into a beehive of police officers.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
drunk was he?
Oh,
Very.
He was annihilated.
He was bar o'clock drunk.
Yeah. So let me go back on Kurt when you said
Yes.
you felt like you're a real superhero. I just want to tell you a quick story on that one. So during this whole chase scene, it was originally because this is my car and I knew how to drive it, and this it was going to be me driving the vehicle.
Yes.
During a lot of the
you were going to put my
exterior
mask
sets.
on and my trench coat on.
Yep, and I was going to be the one driving. I remember showing up that evening, and you just looked at me. You just like,
I was like a little kid in a candy shop.
you gotta let me drive. You gotta let me drive. And I was like, come on, dude. He's like, there's no way. I'm like, you don't know. He's like, no, you have to let me drive. And you just had this puppy dog eyes. And you were just like, no, you have to. I'm like, fine.
Oh, you were going to stunt drive. I forgot
Yes.
about that.
I was
Yeah.
going to do all the driving. And basically, I looked at him. I go, then you're going to do it exactly what I'm going to when I tell
Yeah.
you to do. And I gave him a quick, when you're going in reverse, you don't use long movements. You short what you call it, because you'll lose control.
Yeah.
And you do exactly what I said. So
Because half
during
the
a lot
chase is in reverse.
yeah. So a lot of those scenes, I'm yelling orders to Kurt.
Yeah.
And he is just,
Yeah.
a robot. But after we did that first run through,
Yeah.
he turns to me and it was just,
Grinning.
he
ear
had
to
a
ear.
grin from ear to ear. And I'm like, I can't be mad at this guy.
No, it
Look
was
at him.
awesome.
He
Yeah,
was
it was
so
awesome.
cute.
So
It was fantastic.
to set the
Thank you.
scene, Clint Bush finally makes his appearance in the movie.
Hey.
Rick Smith is the other jewelry thief who is the husband of Andrea, who was the lady,
Your secretary.
the secretary, and they've got nylon on their heads.
Yep.
What kind of car were you driving?
That was
Focus.
a 2004 Ford Focus.
Yeah, blazing speed.
Yes.
And
Well, you make a joke about that in the movie. Should have picked a better car to steal.
There were so many good. We're sitting there. Benny is laying across the back seat shooting the reactions of us in there. There were so many good things. Like, you can't use that. You can't. We were so brand wanting to not dog and everything. It was my car. I bought it brand new. It was the best car I've ever owned as far as like reliability and just miles use for dollar.
Right.
But like legitimately, it was so much fun doing that. We couldn't use any of it because I was like, I bet you just picked up the first car you saw that had the keys in it at the gas station, didn't
Right.
you? You know what I mean?
All that
It's like,
stuff.
all that good, this piece of crap Ford Focus, dude.
so you guys drive past Mummerman. They he goes, let's go. They hit the gas to chase you down the street.
Yep.
This is when you realize you're being followed by you don't know who or what at this point.
Yeah.
Got a light on it.
So like, we're gonna pull a sweet Yui as your big driving move, right? You did a U-turn on
Yep,
Lake Street.
just a regular old lazy Saturday U-turn.
Goes back the other
looks
way.
good.
Goes back the other direction, passes Kurt, and instead of turning around, also
I saw this in a movie.
I saw this in a cartoon once.
Yeah.
Puts it in reverse and floors it backwards.
Yes.
Which
Yeah.
is a huge. Like, how many car chases just in the last few episodes of people going backwards, right?
absolutely.
A big trope. You're chasing him backwards. You guys are having an argument back and forth about
Where the gun is.
where the grappling gun is because you threw it away.
Yeah.
And finally, you make Joe take the wheel and you come out the window with a mummer star,
Yeah.
which I admit we should have got a shot of it in your hand because it was hard to see what you were
Sure.
doing.
Yeah.
and you chuck this thing as they're turning off the street to pop a tire.
Try.
And Rick has that great moment where he's like, who is this guy? Right? As he's crawling out the window. But the thing that got the biggest laugh at the premiere was what happened next.
Yes.
Which is you had an opportunity as they turned off the street to also turn around.
Yeah.
But instead you back up and
Past the street.
keep going backwards down the street chasing him.
I pull back up, do a 3-point turnaround, and then go backwards back down the street after him.
Right. Which is just, I don't know when we came up with that, but that was hilarious and on brand, I think, for the Mummerman.
Absolutely.
For sure.
That was perfect.
For sure. And you could tell.
Calls it out even. You know, it's like, that's good.
Yeah.
Self-aware.
So the other
Well, that was a great joke for you because you go in that scene. You go, you know,
pointed
that was a perfect opportunity for you. And I was like, I realize that now.
Yeah.
But what are we gonna do?
Yep.
I've
And
already done it.
that car was bleeding all over the road.
Yeah, so in that shot of him, of us pulling forward and then backing up, as he's backing up, the headlights shine across the road.
Yeah.
And you can see it, even though that whatever
We sent somebody to Walmart for oil.
That was
Sean,
my brother.
Was it your brother?
yeah, but you could see the oil
Kitty
trails.
litter. We went to
Oil
go get him
trails
kitty litter.
underneath.
It's like, how much? I'm like, all of it.
The car was obviously, I bought the car for like $200. It was supposed to be a demolition derby car. So needless to say, a $200 1985, Chrysler.
Well, I spent a few weeks with you souping it up and
Well, that was-
learning
yeah,
stuff.
but-
You mean it wasn't ready to go 30 miles an hour backwards?
No, and that's the other thing too. Yeah, we were doing high speed backwards on this old weak transmission of this Mercury Grand Marquis.
Right.
And needless to say, it blew the seals
It did.
on the transmission.
Oh, I
so
swear
she
to God,
started
it was ice cream.
puking transmission fluid. Every time we stopped, there was puddles. There was huge puddles
Yeah.
for weeks afterwards. I remember every time driving down that stretch of road, there was all these stains.
It's the only time. It's the only time we even used the car to drive it around because even the shot of you guys trolling around with the scanner was in a van.
Yeah.
Like no one could tell you were like super elevated, and then the next shot you're in the low car.
Yeah, or on the trailer.
Or on the trailer, right?
Yeah.
So after this big chase scene, they're like, all right, let's go get something to eat. And it does kind of switch from night to day immediately, but we do say as you're driving around, it's 4:00 in the morning or whatever, so we know we're supposed to know it's going to be day soon, but whatever. Cuts to you guys having breakfast at Mr. G's.
Yeah.
French fries for breakfast. Okay.
They sell
Burger King
Whoppers
hamburger.
at Mr.
Yeah.
G's, by the way.
Burger King hamburgers.
Yeah.
That's right.
Had Mr. G's.
Because they weren't open yet, so
were
they
like-
couldn't give us
They were
food.
like 2 for $3 or something like that.
Yeah, I ran to Burger King. I was like,
Yeah.
I'll get Whoppers. We can do that.
So they're having this scene, and some of what we did was the tonal shifts around this movie was terrible because sometimes it was like serious, sometimes it was like basically bordering on Monty Python.
Oh, yeah.
And so like here's an example of that. This was like they're eating their breakfast, they turn, and the next table over is the robbers that they were just chasing.
Yeah.
Yes.
With the pantyhose still on their head.
Still on her head.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Joe's like,
It's the only way I recognize them.
he does a double take and he's like, tries to get Kurt's attention. And again, we do this whole like
6
you're-
o'clock, 9 o'clock thing.
You're as stupid as we need you to be for the
Yeah, right,
joke
exactly.
to work,
Yeah.
Finally, he's like, that's them, isn't it? Right? And then we pay off the chokehold from
Yes.
the women's self-defense class. Are you crushing his trachea?
My guy's kind of twitchy.
You both sneak up behind each of them, but I love how neither one of them sees the other guy behind their friend.
Yeah.
No.
I would just blame it on the nylon.
I was going to
That's
say
what
they
I
have the tights on their head.
But we get the best line from Clint, not Clint, but the best
thank
line
you.
out of it all.
He's trying to hold the nylons and eat.
Yeah.
Pull the mic in. Pull the mic in. Pull the mic in. Pull the mic in.
Mike in.
Yeah, I was pulling the nylons away and taking a bite and then putting it back and then eating. And then my cohort there, he's like, just put the nylons
Roll
up
it
under your
under-
nose like a natural bridge.
Natural shelf.
Shelf, yeah,
Use it as a natural
Like,
shelf.
oh, yeah, that is better.
That is better.
And then you get choked out by
Well, the best part is as I'm choking him out, Clint actually has sandwich coming out of his mouth. And it's like on my arm. I remember I'm just like,
yeah.
And then you go, oh, my guy's still twitching.
Yeah.
Am I doing this right? I don't know. Are you crushing his trachea? Like,
I think so.
And then we put a bunch of homages, as I've alluded to, like from different things in the movie. But then there's a line that we straight up just stole straight from Last Action Hero.
Yes.
Because I'm such an Arnold fan. Where it cuts back to the office and I'm like, now I got the Chamber of Commerce doing cartwheels in my cocoa factory.
Yeah.
Because every police chief has to like complain about things, right? And so that's when we find out that we get a call.
Go to
from
the
you,
roof.
Go to the roof.
Yeah.
And so Mummerman, because he's trying to be like Batman or something,
Yes.
he's got the bad guys handcuffed together on the roof of the police station, which was the firehouse, okay, in Antioch. And so me and Jenkins come up onto the roof, and he's like, tell him what you did. Like, we robbed Shehorn Jewelers, which was a call out to our drama teacher, Mr. Shehorn.
Absolutely.
And I don't know why, but Jenkins inexplicably thinks that one of them's trying to get away. You like shifted your weight a little bit. And he's trying to escape. And he tackles Clint to the ground, who's already handcuffed, punches him repeatedly in the gut.
Yeah.
And he's crying. He's like,
And then pepper sprays
Maces
him.
the hell out
And then
of me.
maces the hell out of him.
yeah.
What do you
He's
remember
trying to
about
get away.
What do you remember about that, Clint?
Oh, it hurt. I'm not resisting. No, we're already down. It was just so good. I remember the one outtake though. However,
Yes.
he goes to throw his prop gun back into his holster and misses it. And fumbles it a few times and then just throws it down. And I just started dying laughing. I was like, oh, just don't spray me again this time.
Right, because he's saying that you're trying to tell Mel the take is already ruined.
Yeah, I already killed it.
Don't spray me this time,
Yeah.
right? So, but he's punching you while you're trying to tell him, so, don't spray me this time.
Dude, the whole side of my shoulder and arm was bruised with the texture from the roof up there.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's gravel up there.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I was like, holy cow.
Right. So
Again,
Jenkins,
one of my favorite scenes from the movie. It was just so funny. So It was such a great day. We were laughing really hard. We all had a good time up there.
Well, and I like when you like jump behind the
That
the vent or whatever.
was the
air
It's like,
It's like,
conditioning
we can
unit.
see you.
By the way,
and he's like, oh, it's still
they're
pretty
square.
good, though.
The square air conditioning unit. Got it.
I love
Yeah, not round.
I love that that's the second time. So the first time he tries to do the Mummerman disappear.
the Batman thing, yeah.
Yeah, he gets like the Superman or Spider-Man thing.
Yeah,
You'll
And
get it
then
once of these.
second time
Eventually,
he
you'll
gets
get
his
it.
feet.
Go ahead. Just keep
And then
handing the
at
ball off.
And at the end there, he just nails it. And finally, it's like, boom, he's on the roof going away. He does the disappear, but he gets better every time.
Yeah, we went back to it 3 times. I'm glad you noticed that.
Well, and there was a couple of times where I think we had a couple more times where we wrote that into there to really drive it home. Like, he's trying to be like Batman.
Right.
But then you guys kind of sold it when we were up there because you're like, he goes, Jenkins goes, I could see your foot because he hates me.
Yeah.
That's right.
And then Commissioner's like, it was
it's
pretty
still
good.
pretty good,
Leave it
though.
alone.
It was close.
Leave it
Yeah.
alone.
It was
Eventually,
close.
you're just a wizard. It
So
completely disappears.
I don't know if this counts as a fifth montage, but we get the news report where there's basically
count it.
a parade of Kurt's friends. Okay,
Yes.
so it's like Deanna Delgard and
Yep, and her husband, Liz Moyano
and Erica Perini
Yep.
and the Fielder boys.
Yeah, all the Fielder boys. Yeah.
And Chris Beeman,
Yeah.
who was my favorite. So they're interviewing. It's supposed to be like an on the town thing. They're talking about this new superhero is sweeping through Antioch, and lots of people are talking. And so I heard he's pretty cute. I think
Ashley
he's-
McTalkie News?
Yes.
Ashley McTalkie News. Yep.
What the hell do we call her? Ashley McTalkie
That
News.
was me.
You were the writer.
You
were the
said,
writer.
you and me
Good
were
question.
talking and we're like, what should we come up with a name? And I was like, it's got to be ridiculous. I think it should be something to play on her being
So
like
we went Irish.
a news girl.
Yes.
And
Irish.
you go.
Talking news.
I think it was just
News.
Ashley McTalkie News. And
I know,
was
but
like,
I had-
it's fantastic.
I had forgotten.
Leave
So
it.
we got through all these interviews, and it gets to Chris Beeman, who's. I love that there's already a superhero in Antioch that's
Yes.
been
That's
That's
operating
why there's no crime.
for 10 years.
Yeah.
He's like, you remember the Mad Men? What about the Green Fern? That's because I stopped him, not the Mummerman. And it killed me. Like, this guy, like, I'll be a superhero. Like, he's the first one to think of it, but there's this other dude that's just been doing it.
Yeah. and I'm
no
getting all
movie
the
on him, though.
rewards
That's why
from
it's
it, right?
crimeless.
And you're getting all the rewards.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it goes through all these interviews, and then I had forgotten the name of the reporter because she doesn't say it till the end.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. And all of a sudden she's like, this is Ashley McTalkie News. And I
Channel
just
4.
like threw my
Oh,
paper
jeez.
in the air, and I was like, why on earth did we do that? Talk about like the tonal shift. All of a sudden it's completely ridiculous.
It was fantastic. I love that joke. I still love that joke.
Ashley that was Kurt's first wife.
Yep.
It's Melissa Mummer in the
First.
credits.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, Melissa Mummer. Yeah.
Yeah.
That reminds me,
We're buddies now, though.
No, Melissa's great.
Yeah.
my 7th and 8th grade band teacher's name was Mr. Bandman.
Nice.
And that's not a
Oh
joke.
my gosh.
Awesome. See?
Somebody out
See,
there.
it can work. McTalkie News might
Actually,
actually
McTalkie
exist.
News. Have you heard from Bob?
I haven't heard from Bob. I'll go check again. Because the lady was down by the door. It was unlocked.
Down by the door.
I mean, he should be out of there by
Where
now.
is the Bob?
Well, we can talk about this first time he shows up. because I mean it's really the scene at the end that I want to talk to him about it. So that was the first time we see Bob, and so the next scene we get Kurt going into the grocery store, and Bob is coming out, and they bump shoulders, and it dawns on he's like, "Hey, get out of my way" or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like kind of an incidental
Being a jerk
contact.
to me again.
Yep.
And Kurt, it dawns on him, he flashes back to the newspaper article.
Bob's here.
Awesome.
Bob's here.
And it flashes back to the article, and he's like, "Oh, this is the guy."
Yeah.
And so we see Bob get into his purple rape van and
jeez.
drive off, and you follow him in your Pinto.
Yeah.
And he follows him to the Antioch Motel, which is how you know where he
Where
is.
he's at now.
So getting, kind of
I
getting
pull
to
a
the
Yui.
end, you
Yeah.
pull the Yui straight through traffic. I was like, good Lord.
People were like, "Oh, Pinto, don't hit it."
I'm filming a movie. It's okay.
Yeah. Gets back to his house, tells his mother and Sean, his brother, where he's going. He's going to go fight this wanted criminal.
Yep.
It causes your mother to have such a stressful panic
Like a
attack that
stroke,
she
yeah.
passes out or whatever and ends up having to be hospitalized.
Yeah. I thought
Be like, this is my chance to be a real hero.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to get him. I'm going to look. And Joe follow after Kurt leaves. Eddie comes in, and all he tells him is he went to go look for the guy. So I don't know how you found him. It doesn't make any sense at all that you would know.
It wasn't written in there, so I don't know.
It wasn't. No, that's my fault. I'm making fun of myself. There's most of the problems with
I
this.
know,
are
I
at
know.
a-
Just a-
One small loophole.
most
Yeah.
of the problems with this movie are at a script
one
level.
small
Okay, so I take the responsibility for all of it. Okay, so but Kurt basically shows up at the motel.
Yep.
And he's going into the room where he saw. Come on in.
Who is that? Who's that knocking on the door?
I'm pretty sure it's the purple van
Is it locked?
rapist.
Come on in. Freaking
So this is like the
get in. Are you doing?
Premature detonation.
Premature detonation.
Why on earth are you dressed up? Get in the camera so people can see you. Why on earth are you dressed up as the Mummerman?
I don't know.
That checks out.
So this is like the 5th time I've been beaten up by Bob because that hit me basically in the face.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're looking.
It looks good on you, Bob.
That's good.
Bob, that looks great on you.
It looks awesome.
So now you know why I didn't wear it.
I'm not gonna lie. I was super confused when the door opened.
All right. Can you do me a favor?
There's no bulge. I'm sorry.
Okay. Can you have a seat at the table right there and grab the microphone because we got to talk to you about this scene.
Sure.
Okay. What did you think
That's
you were
why
going to do
you're
when you got
here,
here?
Bob.
You're here to talk.
How's it fit, Bob?
Rotate around.
Looks good on you.
Because you can have the camera.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want the camera.
No, I need you on camera.
This
All right,
is-
pull the
this
mic
is
over
really
to yourself.
Well, good thing you got that on. Nobody can see what you look like.
All right. Awesome.
Hey, Bob.
Hey.
All right.
Guys, how you doing?
It's so weird.
Jackass.
It's confusing.
Yeah.
It's
question.
like hurting
Tell
my
me about
brain.
Who's the asshole that keeps locking the door on me?
Who locked the door?
The door was locked.
Oh, we made
How
sure
long
it was
have you been
open.
here?
Lady.
Yeah, the cleaning lady was down there.
She's an idiot.
Yeah, we
All
kept
right. Well,
trying
we're
to
not
tell her
putting
not
that
to.
in. All right. We got to
Well, look the way you're dressed.
Just getting back into it. Mummerman has now followed Bob to the motel, and he's creeping up to the door that he saw him go in earlier. And like Michael Myers or something, he's just behind him immediately.
He just grabs me.
I grabbed him, yeah.
Just
Throws
drag
me
him
into the
right into the room. What was it like getting to manhandle Kurt?
Not easy.
So
What was the question?
because you've gotten to do a lot of fight scenes with Kurt,
I have.
and I know the two of you don't like to pull your punches, but in this case,
Yeah, we like to beat the piss out of each other.
in this case, what happens is Mummerman comes in, and the whole point of this first scene is to show that he's
I'm not a fighter.
totally out of his league. Like the handicap parkers and the jaywalkers are one
No
thing.
dick punching this time.
But-
But save him.
This is a real, legitimate bad person. When you guys do fight scenes in movies, the two of you have done a few.
Yes.
You never pull your punches, but in this case, Kurt comes in. He shows he's totally overmatched and out of his league. And so basically, this whole scene is you beating the crap out of him in this hotel room.
Yes.
That had to be fun and feel pretty great.
Yeah, it was fun. I had to obviously had to manhandle him because he's a little bit bigger than me, so I had to actually try to act bigger than him. So
Yeah.
You did a good job.
which was not an easy task. So
Dude, it was you were legitimately terrified.
So what you're saying is you would rather prefer beating up on a woman than beating up on a full-grown man.
Nominated in
what's
the
the difference?
I mean, I was nominated in the yearbook in 2006 for most likely to be a rapist or a.
Jeez
Good call.
Louise, dude.
You know, so I mean,
Happy,
if it right, I
happy
mean,
to be a volunteer.
50% of the bad guys in SVU were named Bob, so it's just destiny.
That's true. You ultimately get Kurt's face pinned to the ground. You step on his head, lean down with a knife.
And talked like the fucking Joker for some stupid reason.
No, it was good. Come on, it was
Everything
great.
you did in this movie was great.
Everything you do acting wise is always great, Bob. Shut up.
Wow,
Yeah.
we're doing a.
No, dude, it was awesome.
We loved it. We loved it.
You
Okay,
cut
well,
it.
thank you.
I wish we could have done a different take now in retrospect, going back. The take with the cutting of the knife kind of looks ridiculous and
Yeah,
terrible.
well, and that was a long shoot.
Yeah.
And I was tired. And then I remember you like, I need you to scream.
Yeah.
And I was like how? Like I'm
Like you're getting your face cut
and
open.
you were, and I was like, oh, and I was like, I remember we had to go back
Yeah.
and redo
Yeah.
me like screaming into a microphone later.
Right. Right. And then you pull him into the bathroom. And what's more demeaning than beating somebody with a toilet seat?
Yeah. That was good.
That really sent it home. Like you're nothing.
yeah.
The way he
good time.
ripped it off, dude's like,
I think I might have connected a time or two with.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you did. You
I
did.
think I did.
A time or two.
If I knew myself, I probably did connect. Sorry.
Ultimately,
it's fine.
Ultimately, he leaves. He says, when I come back, I'm going to go try and scare up some fun. Basically, going to go find a victim.
Right.
When I come back, you better be gone. So he doesn't kill you.
Another
right?
trope. Yeah.
Another trope. He leaves you for dead and just assumes it all went to plan. What? Yeah, what's the deal? You drag yourself out of the bathroom,
Yeah.
bleeding, into the dramatic music, and you.
Well, yeah. Bob takes the rapist takes the mask and he's like, yeah,
Chucks it in the parking lot.
Chucks it in the parking lot.
You crawl to the parking lot where Joe inexplicably knows exactly where you are.
Yep. Another trope.
Thank goodness
you.
for that. You're welcome.
He rescued me in my own
That's
Pinto.
right.
Yeah.
He pulls you to the hospital, or he drives you to the hospital.
Where we find
with
out my mom is at.
the most well-acted scene in the entire movie happens. Sean delivers this heartfelt monologue about she did this because of you, or she's in the hospital because of you, man.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah.
you had to go be a hero. Sean's lines are literally on the floor in
Yes.
front of him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I remember that. That was a tough one because he tried to memorize them and
Yeah.
he didn't get through them, and it was a whole big ordeal. I remember. Yeah.
And that was your old boss that was the doctor walking
Yes.
through the hallway, right?
Correct. Yeah. Sean Gallagher.
He runs from the hospital back to the workshop where you're basically going to quit. Mummerman's
I'm
like,
done.
I'm clearly out of my league here. I'm done. Look at this is real. Look at this. This is pretty
That's a great
freaking
scene.
The most
real.
intense acting from Kurt Mummer in the entire movie.
But why didn't you clean your face off? That's what I'm wondering. Now watching it as an observer, I'm like, he just is going to leave this all on here. I'm
For
assuming
dramatic
this is
effect.
hours
Exactly.
later and
Thank
you
you.
haven't wiped your face
Well,
off.
and then that's when he actually tosses me a towel. He's like, "Here, clean up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
clean
going to the bar to talk
Going
to
to the
Steph."
bar. Yeah, so he says,
And I heal magically.
I'm done with this.
Yeah.
I'm just going to the bar. You're right. You do heal magically.
Yeah. That's my superpower.
I'm just imagining if you hadn't wiped it off. And you're just like, no, I'm leaving it.
You know how many free beers she would have given you if you
Yeah.
came in looking like that?
I would have looked great. Whoopsie.
I would have overserved you. once
So
again.
Mummerman goes to the bar to find Stephanie and says he finds the security guard from Wayne's World. That's right. Where she just knew all the relevant plot details that she had to pass on.
Yeah.
Big time
If you're
show.
going to go out on a date with somebody, it better not be with a stupid purple van.
Yeah, he's like, she left with this weird guy. It was so weird because they couldn't have been talking for more than a minute. He was super creepy. And then she ended up leaving. And if you're going to go on a date with some guy, at least find someone that doesn't drive a weird, creepy ass purple van.
Yeah.
Like she just said everything she needed to say.
And I said,
By
what?
the way,
And she actually, she delivers it really well.
She did,
I
she
like
did,
it.
yeah.
Robin Themey helped us with this, and she was great in that part.
if that is a kink, I do have a almost purple van that I drive regularly. I'm just throwing it out.
Steph just hopped
How'd you
in,
know?
not because she was forced in, but she just really liked the purple.
Yeah.
How'd you know?
I was like, I don't even need to know your name. I like your car.
This
Let's
then
go.
I have a daddy thing.
brings Mummerman back into action because
Yes.
he was gonna quit.
Yep.
Realizes she's been abducted by Bob, the rapist.
Break the fourth wall.
Now, why a rapist? This is something else I want to address because it might seem kind of weird that we decided to make the main bad guy this dude that drove this rape
I
van.
think we just wanted something that was realistic enough that if he was hiding in a small town, what would it be?
And I didn't want to deal with a murderer and have to do like murder scenes and like that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
like,
That costs extra.
That costs extra money. And I have to feel like I didn't want it to be too dark.
I don't want to
We
say
went
it.
on to do that later.
Yeah.
I didn't want it to be too dark where he could like have to kill people and stuff.
So the rape scenes are much cheaper.
Yeah, I was going to
much
say
cheaper.
it. I didn't want to say it, but I was like, rape is cheaper.
But,
Yeah.
what was the
if it
build-up?
was an
We
armed-
never actually got there.
Right. And if it was like an armed robber or something, then like how would that really put her in peril? And so I'm trying to find a situation that you would be in peril and that Mummerman could step up to the plate and try and save you.
And I think it worked
So
out.
it's not like we were like, oh, let's have a rape scene in our movie because we didn't. We
Can I
didn't have one.
watch?
Can I watch?
Oh, jeez.
We didn't have one. We had an almost one.
Yeah.
And when we shot
the
this scene,
build-up, yeah.
So before Mummerman can get there, he's got you in his motel room. And Bob, I don't know what you remember about shooting this scene, but I remember what I said to Stephanie beforehand. I don't know if you remember this. I said, just don't let him get you for real, right? I was just like,
I don't remember you saying
I
that.
do. I just was like, just legitimately
you-
fight against him
You had it choreographed. And
to an
then
extent.
you and I were like,
Choreograph?
let's
Screw
just
it.
do it. Like, let's,
Toss me
whatever.
around.
Yeah. And they fought each other for real. And I
was
think maybe
well done.
we let it go a little too long. And when I just watched it, I was like, why is this still happening? But because it was so
Well,
good,
that
I just
was
wanted to show more of it because it was great acting.
That was the first night that I ever met Bob.
Yes. That.
Yep. And
So that was the first
13
night she ever
years-
met you.
13 years later.
Yeah,
Still
yeah.
good friends.
Then-
Do you remember what happened
no, I don't.
afterwards?
Not really.
Okay, so I remember when you pulled your shirt back,
Okay.
what your chest looked like. Well, Bob's chest was all tore up. I mean, basically, you had totally scratched the crap out of him.
everywhere.
Yeah, I ended up with a few scratches too. I just remember you being very, very concerned about me. And like, I was totally fine. I was having a good time. I was like, this is great. Woo.
Yeah.
And he's
Wrestling.
he's like, oh my God, are you okay? Oh my
Yes.
God. Like,
Because
just so everybody knows, Bob is like one of the nicest guys ever.
exactly.
He actually
Like,
Which is we
he
haven't
plays
played these creeps.
He plays a creep really well, and he's a very, very good actor. But he's one of the sweetest guys that you'll ever meet. So he was
Concur
very,
that.
very concerned.
Despite popular belief.
Yeah.
Very concerned about my well-being. But the scene itself, like honestly, I had a great time shooting it. I thought it was
Awesome.
really fun, and it turned out really good.
It was brutal.
It did.
It went hard.
No, it was well done.
Yeah, and so
It was uncomfortable to watch. Which
it
means
is
it's good.
uncomfortable to watch.
It is.
Bob stands above you after he finally he punches you in the face, I think, and kind of you calm down for a second, and he stands up like he's getting ready to take his pants off, and that's when the door flies open because Mummerman has kicked the door straight into Bob.
Yes.
Which the way I was able to sell this in my brain, like how can he suddenly physically overcome this guy that just annihilated him like earlier
Knock
that
him
same
off his
day?
guard, yeah.
Is that first hit kind of like disorients you so much that he catches you off guard, even though you do start to fight back a little bit, but you end up just getting punched in the face like 17 times. I know, just like straight in a row. Maybe we should have choreographed more stuff in there in retrospect, but it was basically just the one move.
Well, yeah, I think
Well,
what
you
we were
kicked him in
doing
the
was
chest because that's
kicked
what he
me
did
in the
to
chest,
you.
right.
Yeah, so it was like a mirror, like douche.
Well, and I remember we were talking about it because you were like, well, how do we want to end the fight? And I said, well, I would think that the only thing I could do, being a guy that doesn't know how to fight other than dick punching, would just keep throwing punches as hard as I could.
Yeah, just flail.
And you were like,
And little did you know it was actually on his dick. It wasn't on his
Yeah.
face.
Well, that's why I was like, why didn't we just
he was
have
sitting on his face.
Just-
why didn't we just have you dick punching him over and over again?
That's
maybe
what I'm
I
saying.
should have. Look at all these dents in my fist.
Rape someone now.
God, Lord.
Did you ever have any interactions with the hotel, the manager there? Do you remember
Yeah,
that?
he was a creep.
Yes, he was
Yeah.
super creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so later when Bob's being wheeled out, so Mel was able to secure us an ambulance. I don't remember how you did that, but we got an ambulance. Yeah, real quick.
I called 911.
All right. Somehow through your connections, thanks, you got us an ambulance. And so Bob is being wheeled out on a gurney, okay, and loaded into this ambulance. And as they're wheeling him out, the old creepy dude I didn't even realize was in the shot.
He's in the shot,
Or I
standing
didn't
there.
purposely put him there. He's just standing there watching because the whole time he's trying to be like, "You guys sure you don't want to make a porno?"
Come on, guys.
He's like another Tuesday at the motel.
Yeah. The fact that it was so normal for him
Is
that was the weird part.
Yeah,
That was like, this happens on a regular basis. Like this is a thing
I guess.
in Antioch. I guess.
I don't know.
Weird.
So did you rewatch it before you came in today?
Yeah, I rewatched it last night.
Okay, so was it the first time in a while?
Yeah, it was the first time in a few years.
All right. So after having seen it for a while, what was it? Did any of your family members watch it with you? Probably not the kids.
No.
Did Carrie see it?
No,
Well,
Carrie
she's seen it before, has she?
Yeah, when I was in theaters.
Yeah. Okay. So what was it like going back to it after so many years? What were you thinking about watching this scene of you and Stephanie and all that?
I don't know. It was cool to watch, and it was nice to see everybody.
And so after Bob gets put in the ambulance, well, actually Bob doesn't. He gets hauled into I know I said ambulance, but I think he actually gets hauled away in a police car, right?
Yeah,
because
yeah.
Stephanie is the one that ends up sitting in the ambulance.
Right.
You come in and you, after your big makeout scene in the bedroom,
Yes.
you had another. You guys kissed
A gentle kissing
scene,
where
in
it's
the
more of
ambulance,
a, hey, I just want to let you know I'm not going to be far behind.
which is totally normal in a movie.
And then we get that sweet shot.
But
of
it's just
where the
weird.
ambulance is pulling away, and I'm like just standing
Oh, that's
with
true.
the lights.
It's true.
Bouncing off the mask. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's totally normal in a movie to have the main characters end up in a relationship, but it's just weird because you're friends now. At the time you weren't, but then she's married to Ryan, and so it's just odd to watch you guys making out.
Yeah.
I looked away all 3 times that it happened.
Yep.
I was like, guess I got to write a note now. In my notebook.
It wasn't awkward at all.
Yeah, I mean, we're best friends from it now.
No,
but
you guys get along great.
Jackpot.
Jackpot.
You have that cool scene or the cool shot where the ambulance pulls away, and then the chief of
Commish,
police comes
yeah.
over to you and says, Mr. Mummerman,
That was great. That was a fantastic. I love how you deliver that, Mr. Mummerman.
Yeah.
I'm not a man that's not willing to.
admit when I was wrong.
Yeah, admit
and
when I
I
was
make
wrong.
thank you. I think you'd make a great police officer. He says, "No, thank you very much."
Yeah.
And this is where you finally pull off
Yes,
the
we're gonna need you
disappear.
to fill out some paperwork and
Off.
gone.
You Jim Gordoned him,
Yeah.
just like Batman does,
Yeah.
across the roof, and then we get the pan up, which we're able to achieve with a ladder truck from a fire department.
Right.
The crane and the movie ends on a crane up a building with his monologue playing over it about what it means to be a hero, and it's craning up. Thinking, oh, we got a crane? No, we literally put Benny in the basket of a cherry picker.
Yeah.
For the ladder truck.
Right. I had to cash in a ton of favors with people I knew, police
Yeah.
department, fire department. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm tapped out now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
dude,
they're
still
like,
hasn't
never
recovered.
again.
He's been mopping floors ever since.
You swung so much for that; it was ridiculously cool.
Yeah, I'm on the rooftop.
Yeah, you
looking
giving
all
your thing?
stoic. The wind's blowing my trench coat in the wind.
It's the Batman shot,
yeah.
right?
Oh, it's great.
In the middle of the day.
Middle of the day.
And then the last shot is you walking away with your mom, which I think is sweet. And
Yeah.
and Dolly
Great way to
does
end it.
great, and that great big smile on her face, and that's the end of the movie, guys.
No, okay, we made it.
All right,
We
we
made
made it. Nice.
So, how about we give this movie some awards?
Yeah,
I think it's a great idea.
Let's do
Please,
it.
let's
Now,
go.
We're going to start as we always do with the Will Patton Award for Intensity.
You want a war? I'll give you a war!
I don't want them to gain another yard.
You blitz all night! And if they cross the line of scrimmage, I'm gonna take every last one of you out. You make sure they remember forever the night they played the Titans.
That's right. It's the award we give out to the person that displayed the most intensity. They treated their role like it was as serious as a heart attack, and they just went for it 110%. As always, we've got some patrons playing along with us from home, and
Oh, boy.
We've got a few this time. And so our first one, this comes from Dave, not Paul Parkinson.
Hey, Dave, not Paul.
All the
Not
way from
Paul, what's up?
Australia.
Down under.
He said it's Bob. This one,
Bob, yes.
This one hurt a little to type, but credit where credit's due.
Nice.
Right? Yes. And then we had Chris Cordray writing in, and he also went with Bob.
Yeah.
Nice.
Said he sold the creepy rapist thug part. If I would have seen him do that in a theatrical play, I would have been uncomfortable and totally bought it. So
Awesome.
that's the good praise there from Chris Cordray. Also went with Bob. But we have our first person that almost got, but it is unanimous across the board that Corporal Hicks actually went with Bob also. But he says, the thing is, after multiple watches, I wanted to give this prize to Jay Vandenberg as Jenkins.
Yes.
Because I liked his scenes and he had me rolling. But the thing is, since the moment you see Desmond I forgot we named Bob Desmond in this movie.
Desmond? Really?
Yeah, we did.
He had a
It's
name?
in the credits.
I thought it was just Bob the Raven.
I know. Bumping into Kurt, you can tell he's the villain of the story. Bob oozed so much intensity and was so keyed into the role. There's no way you could cheer for him. You wanted him to get beat. I mean, his line of "I'll kill you and everyone you care about" was a spine chiller. Nicely done, Bob. So,
Nice.
Yes.
clean sweep. But
Too bad Bob wasn't here for that.
Bob won.
Too bad Bob wasn't here for that.
so ultimately, Bob wins that award. So next we go to our trash can full of dirt award, the award you don't want to win, the one that basically signified that you had the acting range of a trash can full of dirt. We'll start here with Chris Cordray. He said, difficult because the script made sure that everybody had a part to play. The two friends in the comic book store, the cheating girlfriend, etc. I would say that I didn't vibe with the actress who played the Mummerman's mom.
Oh, man.
But she had a role to play, and I like how she was shown in the ending. I guess I'll go with the citizen that was looking down the alley when Mummerman was trying to use the grappling hook.
There you go.
Here we go. Dave, don't call him Paul Parkinson. I don't want to do this, but James Hauser.
Yeah.
He goes, very hammy. Probably should just stick to directing. How'd you going? It's Eric Suela. Eric Suela. And then Hicks also went Eric Suela.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
So he said, the first time I saw this movie, I was going to seriously give this to Sean Mummer. I felt his acting was flat, and I was totally rewriting the idea that Ms. Mummer was an eccentric lady who had a trash can full of dirt she called her son. It also would make the scene where Kurt gets the keys funnier as he digs through the trash can.
It's true. That's true.
It would be
That would
hilarious.
have been great.
But then out of left field, but Sean nailed that final hospital monologue.
What?
And I can't give it to him now.
Wait.
Hey.
What?
Peyote, maybe?
However,
This guy got higher and higher as the movie went on?
yeah, I guess. However, I just couldn't buy Eric Suela's Carl. It was just not good. I didn't like it. I think his lines could be delivered better, and the spitting was obnoxious.
Sure.
He spits into the grill.
Yeah, no, that's obnoxious, but I think that was intense.
So we got 2 for Eric. All right, our top 3 performances. This is irregardless of quality, just the 3 people that you enjoyed the most. All right, so here's who the patrons wrote in and said. So Dave put Stephanie at number 3.
All right.
Joe at number 2, and Kurt at number 1. So Kurt,
Nice.
you're better than
here,
Joe.
buddy.
Is basically what the guy
right
from
here.
Australia
I'm
is
okay.
saying there.
Nice
There you
job.
go.
I'm always number 2 to
There you
you.
go.
Drives a sweet Pinto, too.
Chris
do it well.
Cordray did a top 3, but really it was like a top 8. So
my gosh.
At number 3, he had Mel, Clint, and Stephanie. Okay. So you cracked somebody's top 3.
Yes.
At number 2, he had Nicole and Bob at number 2.
Okay.
And then number 1, Kurt, James, and Joe at number 1.
By tonnage.
Another one. Nice.
Jay,
By tonnage.
Mel, by tonnage, we won that.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
All right, so we're here to
By
Hicks.
volume, you won it.
Yeah.
And Hicks came in with an honorable mention for Patrick Riley.
Oh,
Yes.
of course.
So that guy just really wanted to sell some cars, and I was living for it.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's not wrong. It was small enough to where I kind of put it off. Well, when I watched it,
I keep
it was
forgetting.
really
Yeah.
hilarious.
It's like one of those, like,
It's how he entertains himself.
God. The fact that we got him to crack up on the outtakes, was that one of those, like, precious moments?
yes.
I got him to crack
He's
up.
rubbing Kurt's chest over here.
You sounded just like him.
Exactly.
All right, so for his number 3, he gave it to me, James. Thank you.
Hey, well done.
He put my name. I didn't know why my character had a name, Captain Reed. Okay, cool.
Oh, you did. You wrote it. You didn't even know
You
it.
wrote it. Yeah.
He said, when I originally saw the film, I expected James to channel the rage of 1,000 dead police chiefs. However, as I watched it over and over again, I realized that if this was a buddy cop movie, he may have, but this is a superhero movie. And in a way, he was kind of given a Jim Gordon vibe that I was really liking.
That's what I wanted.
Also, the whole scene where he was talking about his dad in the picture just was hilarious.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
that's that. Number 2, Joe Goratowski.
Hey, I'm really good at being number 2. I am number 2.
In all senses.
In all senses.
He said, in general, I found the friendly chemistry between Joe and Kurt to be very good, which was necessary for the film. The movie would have been horrible if the two main actors hated each other and were forced to act like friends.
That's true.
And I just think their chemistry is really seen in the movie. It's good. On top of that, I remember Joe stating that he has a stutter, and I find it amazing he was able to stand in front of a camera and make it happen. It gives me hope.
It's
Maybe
hard.
one day I can do something like that as well, since I, too, have a stutter.
What's this? Who is this again?
This is Hicks.
Oh, Hicks, buddy. See right there. That's right. I feel you.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's
I know,
hard.
we give Joe a hard
Especially
time once in a
doing
while.
The show.
No, we
that's
love
why
Joe,
my
though.
tempo is the way it is.
No, well, we
because
give
of
him
that.
a hard time once in a while about things,
Yeah,
but it's all in good fun. But yeah, Joe's killing it out
But good thing we were friends and our
Yeah,
chemistry
the
came
chemistry
together.
showed up,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, and we just hated each other on set.
Well, after that movie, yeah. We spent a lot of time together.
And number 1, Sean Mummer.
Whoa!
No, I'm kidding. It's Kurt Mummer. Let's be honest. This movie could not have happened without Kurt, just as he said. He brought a lot to the table, and I'm impressed. I agree with James. The man doesn't need puns to make a person laugh. But he can
Amen.
still use them. But just as much so,
Limited
that scene
amount.
where he was calling it quits was chef's kiss perfection.
Yeah, that was a good
I cannot emphasize this. The movie could not have been made without him. So that's Kurt there.
Well,
nice
thank
job,
you.
buddy.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate that.
All right, well, let's hear what the patrons had to say.
I would
So,
love to.
Dave, don't call him Paul Parkinson, says, I really enjoyed your movie. I should also tell you, I was struck by a cricket ball to the head when I was 16. So I think that has an impact on my decision making.
He had us there for a second.
And thought process, he goes, this is a bad movie that rules. This looks like you guys had a load of fun making it. Really was a fun movie to watch. So that was from Dave in Australia. Chris Cordray said, when I turned it on, I couldn't stop watching it. Some people will take that as a good thing or a bad thing. But the Mummerman caught my attention and told an actual story. I tried to watch this movie from a perspective of not knowing the actors that were involved or having listened to them for the past year and a half on a podcast, as well as knowing their points of view and sense of humor. Initially, I could tell this movie was done on a budget, but I could also see the amount of detailed effort involved with lighting, camera angles, scene cuts, etc. I haven't read the script, so I can't say what was improvised, but it was awesome. Genuinely decent, funny, witty humor. The bike kids beating up Mummerman. The framed picture of the captain's dad in his office. Nicole Freer's entire scene.
Yes.
Clint being pepper sprayed by Mel. The Antioch car dealership scene. The escape room ending up underneath Eddie's little cousin's bed. I could tell this was all very specific humor that took a lot of thought to make sure it was delivered. This is a bad movie that rules.
There you go.
And
Well said.
Hicks.
Hicks.
This was a hard question. I actually had
take
to
it down,
ask
Dick.
James, and he did ask me this before he rendered a verdict. I had asked James a question to get a better understanding, and in my opinion, it would be asinine to try and compare this movie to any movie that had a theatrical release. Though, in my opinion, it's leaps and bounds better than Boyfriend School and Ice Pirates.
I will agree.
Yes.
It just doesn't have the budget production value to warrant those comparisons. So let's compare it instead to other low-budget backyard-style movies released on the internet, like Channel Awesome's movies, Suburban Nights, Kick-Assia, To Boldly Flee, and Atop the Fourth Wall.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, this movie is so much better than any of those. It's better written. It's shot better. The reliance on practical effects over crappy CG is always a plus. And although the acting can be iffy, I find it makes the movie a whole lot better. So in my opinion, after watching this movie 7 freaking times,
Wow.
this is a good movie. No, you can't change my mind. Don't even bother.
No, we're not going to change. We're not going to say nothing.
Go huff a dong.
Awesome.
I like this.
You know what? You know what maybe would kick this into the good movie that's good category?
To the next level?
Maybe take.
Shut your face.
What the frick is the matter with you? What would make this even better is if we could have somehow gotten Arnold Schwarzenegger to be
Oh
in
my
this
gosh.
movie.
Oh my God.
Could you imagine
Oh my God.
if Arnold was in the next
As
level?
Nicole?
As Stephanie? As
No, it's
Nicole?
Howard.
Dude,
It's Howard.
No.
Yeah.
My brother.
Well, that's obvious.
Let me get this straight. You want the keys, you want to go in the garage, and you want to use it as your superhero layer?
Yeah. And don't tell mom.
Whatever, it's so stupid. Here.
Hey, Mom, what is a swing class?
What if he earned the tie?
Oh my God.
Dave said Arnold would only improve the movie maybe as a mentor to the Mummerman. We could add a Miyagi.
He
I
could
would
be
love that.
Jenkins.
Jenkins. Get in here, Jenkins. Yes, what is it? I'm gonna. I got him, so I got
look
the
at
dick
this.
puncher. He's here.
Yeah.
Oh, look
What
at
the
me.
dick?
Look at
This guy.
Me in your suit. Chris Cordray said, would Arnold make this better? Hell yeah. He would be the FBI agent that kicks open the captain's office door and yells at the captain for not doing anything about a vigilante in his city.
Nice.
Breaking multiple federal
That's
crimes.
funny.
Nice.
So he's my boss coming in and going, you're not doing your job. You're not doing it. You're letting this costume woman run
on.
around the whole city.
Dick punching people.
That's right.
Civilians. Not cool.
But I would still name the character Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm like, Arnold Schwarzenegger, it's a man. I found out it's a man. Like he'd just say his full name every time I talk to him.
Yeah, I don't know
Arnold
how we came
Schwarzenegger.
up with the Ashley and McToggy news.
Hick said, Arnold, yes, and make him Carl. Eric Swayle's for grill.
You get your grill back.
That way, when Kurt asks for his
gosh.
grill, we can get that trademark Arnold scowl, that death glare.
Yes.
Also, I would laugh to see Kurt try to tackle him, almost die, and then Carl is like, I don't want your stupid baby grill. Anyways, take it.
I'm going to drink from my hoof drink here.
Next week, we are going back to recording our regular episodes. And let me tell you, we have one of the worst films ever made on the docket next week.
Ernest.
Oh, no, it's not Ernest.
Shut your face.
It's trash. Remember how bad Batman was? Remember when we did Batman?
Yeah.
It was
Batman?
terrible. The original one with Michael Keaton.
It's the stupidest one ever.
Yeah, it was
was
terrible.
Lame.
The next one is almost, well, maybe it probably is worse. It's Demolition Man.
Demolition
Oh
Man.
my
Yeah.
God, dude! That
Piece of trash.
that thing.
Yeah. What seems to be your boggle? Be well.
Yeah, that's the stupidest movie I've ever seen in my entire
Who was
So,
in that?
What
that
in
was
California?
Steven
watch-
Seagal.
I
That
would
was Van
watch.
Damme and Rodman, right?
Yeah,
that's right.
Dennis
Yeah,
Rodman
yeah.
was in that one. Yeah.
So we'll try to suffer through Demolition Man. I know Clint's going to be here with me, and Bob will be back in, and we'll get, I don't know who else is in there, but we'll get back into Demolition Man, and
Yeah, whatever.
we'll try and do our best.
I'd rather watch Boyfriend School.
I'm gonna go get some Taco Bell.
So on behalf of
Everybody.
Stephanie Farrell, Nicole Freer, Jim Freer, Bob Hauser, Clint Bush, Mel Vandy, Joe Gorotowski, and Kurt Mummer, this is James Hauser. Thank you for listening.
When the crime starts in your town, and you know it's gonna get down.
He's driving backwards, coming for ya.
He'll punch you in the cloud. Oh yeah.
Mama man,
Dick punch.
man,
Dick punch.
Mama man,
Dick punch.
Mama man.
Boxing glove.
Dick punch.
Filled with foam.
Punch. Dick punch.
Hey,
Jaywalker.